Good afternoon, my friends. Welcome to Secrets of Personal Transformation, Mental Training Secrets for Health, Self, Success, and Happiness. I'm your host, the deliriously delightful and often deranged David Snyder. Welcome to the world according to David, as is so often our case. It's my honor to be here. We just got back from an amazing 9 intensive days out in Las Vegas where we taught an integrative NLP and hypnosis class. Today is going to be a pretty full schedule. So if you are, first of all, we got a bunch of things before I go into what I lovingly call the David Dog and Pony Show. There's a few administrative things that I'd like to get out of the way beforehand. First of all, if you're used to like every webinar that we do is about delivering as much useful and actionable information to you as humanly possible. It's not a 90-minute tease you for an hour and 15 minutes and then send you home hungry unless you buy our $20,000 home study course. There will be an offer, as is always the tradition, to offer you the next step in your training. But our goal in this webinar, as is in all of our online classes, is to give you something that you can take out into the world and start using today. And that is truly my goal. So a couple of things. First and foremost, if politically incorrect language, colorful metaphors, swearing, or the word boobies offend you, when would now be a good time to find some other use for the next 90 minutes to 3.5 hours? Second of all, my goal is never to offend anyone, but it is, I do have an intention, whether conscious or unconscious, to provoke everyone, especially those people who have a severe case of political correctness stuffed up their rectum. So I'll often say things I don't actually believe just to piss them off. So if you're one of those, you might want to consider finding other pastures, right? That being said, I like to have fun with what we do. In fact, you're going to discover very, very quickly that playfulness and fun is by far the most empowering state for everything that we're going to do and talk about today. So for those of you who are watching us through YouTube, I can see you in the chat very, very well, but there is a lag time between when my words and my video reaches the platform and when I can actually respond. If I do not respond, it is not because I don't want to, it's because your shit moves so fast I didn't see it. And which brings us to kind of the next level of today. First and foremost, our people on this webinar are going to fall into two groups. Two general groups. People who are veterans of Planet David, people who've been around for a while, who've been members of the channel, who've been coming to our trainings or watching our online videos, and that's cool. I'm going to need your help today. Okay. Then there's the other group, those of you who are coming at us for the first time, right? There's trolls in every crowd, and don't worry, we'll ignore those or whatever. So, but the bottom line is, if you are a first timer, please type in your name and first time and what you kind of like to take away from today's seminar. Just go ahead, take a minute or two, type that in the chat and write it down, by the way, on a piece of paper off to the side or on your monitor or whatever, because we're going to be circling back to those things. It's part of what we're going to be doing today. Okay. Those of you who are veterans of Planet David, I'm going to need you today because there's going to be lots of people asking lots of questions in both chats, both on YouTube, both on our Zoom interface. And what I need you to do is I need you to watch for those questions. And if I miss the question or it's a question you have experience in, don't answer a question that you haven't had an experience dealing with out in the real field, because people don't want to know about theory. They want to know what actually worked for people who don't have a vested interest in promoting their services and what have you. And that's the other thing, is one of the coolest things about what we do with NLP Power and the speed transformation superhighway, as I like to call it, AKA Planet David, is that you don't have to believe a single frickin' thing that I teach you. All you got to do is do it. The system works whether you believe in it or not. The only difference between buying in fully and not is just the amount of repetitions that you have to do. It's really cool. So we're going to be covering some of the most powerful principles and concepts, and I'm hoping that regardless of whether you're coming to us for the first time or whether you've been around Planet David for a while, we're going to try and put things together for you in a way that makes sense and that is actionable, that you can just go out into the world and do right away. So let me just give you the basic understanding of how we're going to do things. In a moment, I'm going to go into my formal presentation, but what my job is, what I'm going to do for the next 60 minutes or so, 60 to 1 hour 15, is I'm going to give you as much content as I can in that hour to hour and 15 minutes. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to present to you the next steps, so to speak, and tell you, show you what we've put together for you, and so you know where to go next. Once that's done, and that usually takes anywhere from 20, 25 minutes, depending on the questions I get and so forth. What's going to happen after that is I'm going to circle back around to the agenda that I'm going to explain to you during the presentation, and we're going to continue to teach. So it's not like, you get teased for an hour to 15 minutes. They present you this ridiculously priced offer that you must take today, and then you're done. We're going to actually give you content. We're going to prime you. We're going to teach you some important skill sets that you need to have under your belt. We're going to present where to take this next if you want to go to the next level. And then we're going to circle back around and we're going to continue to teach, and we're going to continue to deliver content. So if this is the scope of everything that we have time for this, even in a 90-minute to a 3-hour webinar, right? And so my commitment to you, as is always, I will take you as far as I can in the time that we have, and I will point you in the direction of how to take your next steps to go to the next level. Is that a fair trade? Please type in the chat if you think that's fair trade. Cool, excellent. All right. Once again, there will be a replay, probably two. There will probably be a replay that's available on YouTube, and then there'll probably be another replay that we'll be doing later on. The one on YouTube, I may have to edit down a little bit just to make sure that all the dead time and stuff is done. So please be patient with that. But the YouTube should be available almost immediately. The raw version should be immediately available after this. So my name is David Snyder. Welcome to Mental Training Secrets for Success, Health, Wealth, and Happiness. With your permission, I'd like to go ahead and start the formal presentation. Is that cool? Can we do that? Type yes or yes in the chat, because I'm going to do it anyway, whether you want to or not. Right? Cool. All right, let's go ahead and jump into probably the most important thing that we're going to talk about today. Not really. It's not really that important, believe me, but it sets kind of the scope. First and foremost is, who the hell is David Snyder, and why should I care? This year, 2020, I was voted the #1 NLP trainer in the world by globalgurus.org. And with your help, I hope to take the #1 slot again for 2021. My background, well, obviously, I was named the #1 NLP trainer in the world by Global Gurus, but what else might be important for you to know? I have a doctorate in acupuncture and Oriental medicine from Pacific College of Oriental Medicine. That's a copy of my diploma. I've been a practicing acupuncturist and practitioner of Oriental medicine since 2005. I graduated with my master's degree in Oriental medicine from Southern California University of Health Sciences. And I got my undergraduate degree in business management from Oklahoma State University. So if there's any Sooners out there, yay. Great time, learned a lot, found out just how powerful hypnotic skills and programmings can be in that environment. And then I went on to create a practice in Solana Beach, California, where my specialty is treating physiological illness that has as its roots repressed emotion. So while some trainers and some hypnotists and practitioners spend a lot of time on nail biting and weight loss and smoke cessation, I deal with mostly traumatic events of some kind, various forms of repressed emotional issues, psychosomatic illness, things of that nature that have as their roots repressed emotion. Like I said, in 2020, I was named the #1 NLP trainer in the world by globalgurus.org. The previous 3 years, I was named the #2 NLP trainer in the world by globalgurus.org. I've authored over 15 different products in various forms of healing, health, and human influence. Everything from how to get better, how to get more dates, how to get over traumas, how to win job interviews, energy work, manifestation, many forms of various forms of human influence. And we integrate all those into the systems that we teach at NLP Power. Fun factoid, this year, my course, Killer Influence, Secrets of Covert Hypnosis, was named one of the #1 NLP training course in the world by my peers in NLP, which is funny because I never promoted Killer Influence as an NLP course. But here's a copy of the letter from Global Gurus. It says, David, with great pleasure to announce that your training program Killer Influence has been chosen by global peers and ranked as the best program in the world for NLP. You can see it here. And of course, when I click there, you go to these were all the people in the running. And of course, they voted us the #1 training in the world. And I thought that was pretty awesome because I didn't even know there was a contest. So thank you all for your support in that. And so cool. I also have a 10th degree black belt in an art called martial arts called Rikyu Kempo. I've been a lifelong martial artist, and it's, believe it or not, martial arts has been one of the most important aspects in helping me to really drill down and hone the skill sets that I'm going to teach with you on this webinar. So I have a 10th degree black belt in Rikyu Kempo Karate, of course. I have a 4th degree black belt in Shaolin Kung Tao, 2nd degree black belt in Kosho Kempo-Ryu, 1st degree black belt in Fanku-Ryu Jiu-Jitsu. I'm also a certified instructor in Combat Sistema, which I think is one of the most powerful and fascinating arts that I have ever studied. Cinco Mano Eskrima, which is a Filipino martial arts system, as well as Modernista basic instructor certification. Not listed on here, but it is important as well, is I'm also a certified Reiki master and instructor. I've been a Reiki master since before Reiki was cool. I'm certified pranic healer and pranic psychotherapist. I'm certified in DNA theta healing and advanced DNA theta healing. I'm also certified in the Bankston energy healing method. So many of you know that I've spent some time training with Bill and kind of modifying and basing some advanced manifestation techniques on the work of Dr. Bill Bankston. I've been a practitioner of Hermetic practices and principles for many years. Qigong and Tai Chi as well as a big part of what I do. So just wanted to, so you're probably sitting there going, okay, now you've run through your pedigree, David. What's all this have to do? What do all these things have in common? Well, first and foremost, the ability to control your state and pattern recognition. What does that have to do with health, wealth, success, and happiness? Well, pretty much everything. You see, human beings can't do anything without controlling their state. In other words, they have to be able to alter their states before they can begin to access any of their abilities. Now, human beings also operate in patterns. And what I mean by that, let me jump back to face-to-face version. I don't like PowerPoints. I should just tell you that right up front. I don't like PowerPoints at all, but they are important just to keep some kind of structure between what we're going to do. And what we're doing today, by the way, is called a free-form webinar, which means part of it's going to be structured. And then at a specific point, I'm going to jump off and I'm going to actually customize the content of today's webinar to exactly what you want most to know about. Okay. And so there's some drills that we're going to do, but getting back to patterns of thought and patterns of recognition. And I just taught 9 days intensivist. So there's people online who are at that training who are immensely qualified to help you and guide you if I miss your questions. So first and foremost, everything human beings do involves some kind of a structure, like a program that runs on a computer, but you're better than a computer. In fact, computers wish they could be as cool as human beings, but everything human beings do, their behaviors, their beliefs, their memories, their thoughts, their skills, their abilities, their talents are manifested through the prism of the human nervous system via a coding system. We call it the primary encoding system. And every thought that you have, every belief that you hold, every behavior that you express has its roots in that coding system. And those codes follow a pattern. And once you understand that pattern and how to look for them, you can see them in people's behaviors. You can elicit them from the words that people use, and you can extrapolate patterns of thought about how they create those behaviors, those beliefs, those memories. And because of that, once you understand how to recognize the pattern and the structure of that pattern, you can start to change the pattern and you can start to predict and influence human behavior, starting with your own. And this is where all roads lead. The first and most important person that you need to learn to influence is you. And once you have that down, once you have the ability to alter and control your own state, you now have the keys to the kingdom. You have the ability to gain rapport and connection with anyone you want, to bond with anyone you want, and to really have people wanting to do what you want them to do and liking you for it. Would that be useful to have people doing what you want them to do and liking you for it? If you think that's a good thing, type that in the chat. And if it were a completely ethical and honest way of doing that, would that be useful? Right? Cool. All right. That's where we're going. Now, we have technologies and classes and systems for specifically that. And we're going to talk to you about later at the end of the webinar where you can go to take your training further. The kids just got home, so they're probably going to come in any minute and interrupt my webinar. So please bear with me as I receive the love and affection from my lovely children, right? Oh, they're closing the door for me. How wonderful. They're learning. Thank God. So that being said, let's jump back to the PowerPoint because we have a lot of material. I mean, a ton. When you see what I've got lined out for you today, you're going to be like, holy shit. I said shit on the webinar. Get over it. All right. So let's jump back to the PowerPoint and just go ahead and see where we're at. Let's see. Okay. So everything, it has everything, pattern recognition and state control. If you can't control your state, you can't access your resources. If you can't recognize patterns, you don't know how to change a pattern. Okay. Now this class is for you if you would like to be more attractive to the opposite sex. Anybody here like to be more attractive to the opposite sex, or maybe make him find you more charming and irresistible? Would that be useful? Right? Would you like to be able to banish fear and insecurity from your life and radiate confidence and be more assertive? Would that be useful? Type yes if you think that might be useful. You're going to get the keys to that today. Would you like to make more money on your job? Right? Book more clients for your business. Get that raise or promotion that you know you deserve. Do you think maybe you don't deserve it? Would you like to be able to deserve it? We're going to show you how to do that. If you'd like to learn how to protect yourself from manipulators and people who prey on the weak-willed, people with low self-esteem or low sense of identity, this is probably a really, really good webinar for you to be on. If you'd like to program yourself to create massive financial abundance, maybe even have more than enough money to buy the things you want and then some, really pay attention. If you'd like to learn how to nail 2 or 3 job interviews on the spot and have them salivating to hire you, we'll touch on that. I don't know how deep into that we'll have time to go, but we have other webinars where we go deep dish into that. If you'd like to inspire your employees, children, or spouse to do what you want them to do, when you want them to do it, you're going to learn some of the fundamental keys for doing that. If you'd like to radiate confidence and attraction and surround yourself with people that you are loyal and trustworthy, pay attention, right? If you've ever thought about maybe the possibility of wielding this quasi-Jedi-like ability to, these are not the droids you're looking for. Or more says, I am the guy you're looking for, or I'm the person you're looking for. Pay attention because we're going to show you step by step how to build that kind of charisma and that kind of psychological influence. But we're going to do it in a purely ethical, honest, and integral way, in the way that makes people want to do the things that you want them to do and feel good about doing it, right? Because we're going to show you how to link everything that you want to what other people want. We're not going to focus as deeply on that aspect of it in this webinar as we are on the self-work and the identity level and changing your limiting beliefs and things of that nature. But we are going to touch on it, and we will reference other materials where you can find the extensions to that material. So my personal promise to you, once again, is if you stay to the end, I'm going to show you the fastest, most powerful, and direct way to reprogram your mind and body for unlimited success, health, wealth, and happiness. I'm going to teach you in a very short way how to put a dead stop halt to procrastination and take immediate action if that's what's necessary. I'm going to show you how to remove blocks to your success, how to get rid of negative emotions, fear, pain, and limiting beliefs. Are these things that you might find useful? Go ahead if you think that's something that you might want to do. Cool, cool, excellent. And finally, I'm going to teach you the exact steps necessary to go from interesting information to maximum transformation in minimum time. And here's how I'm going to do that for you. Okay. If you stay until the end, this is what I've got planned for you. I'm going to teach you the 2 most important factors for success. It's not what you think, or maybe it is. I'm going to teach you the rules of the mind, the ones they didn't tell you about. I'm going to show you an approach to what I call body-centered energy psychology, how your system really works and how you can begin using it right away to make the changes you want to make. We're going to show you how to program your future and clear your past. It's all part of this body-centered energy psychology and rules of the mind process that we're going to guide you through. And finally, we're going to show you exactly what steps to take to get the life you want and get the way you want it, master yourself inside out, and really start taking control of your life starting today. Does this sound like a good agenda for today? What do you think? Type in the chat room if you think it's good. Cool. Got a little bit of lag there. I'm not sure what's happening. Cool. Excellent. Thank you. All right. So let's get started. First and foremost, what do you want to learn about today? This is where you get to tell me. Type in the chat. What is your biggest, most important question about programming your mind for success that you would like the answer to today? If you came away with nothing else from this webinar, what would you like to know most? What would be like, this was the best use of my time ever? Go ahead and type that in the chat so I know. It's going to be important because we're going to actually dip down onto that later. These answers are going to be very important. And by the way, if you type it in the chat, please, on a notepad or a piece of writing paper, please write that down, because one of the first drills that we're going to do is about connecting everything in this webinar to that. Abundance. Okay. Ria Harmon's asking me about abundance. Remove barriers to financial abundance. Excellent. Janet's asking. Perfect. Transforming my self-concept, removing blocks permanently. Get rid of blocking beliefs. Okay. I see. Okay. How to take massive amounts of money in small periods of time. Okay. Make money with no effort. Okay. I'll see what I can do about that one. I haven't figured that one out yet. I still have to put effort into making money, but it does get better over time. Exactly how to implement all the information you give. Okay, perfect. Oh, Ralph is asking how I can get into trance the quickest and most efficiently. That's perfect, because that's where we have to start. I want to know what you know. Well, if you want to know what I know, you got to do what I do. Keep my employees happy at work. Okay, Christian, very good answer. Stop self-sabotage. We can do that. How to deal effectively with difficult people and manipulative negotiators and tactics. Okay. How to download you. Okay, very cool. All right, so let's talk about what I like to call the identity by design process. Everything that I'm going to share with you today in today's webinar, from the 2 most important factors to success, all the way down to how to take control of your life, is based on this model. This is what I call the identity by design silo, or the identity by design process. It's based on the principles that I'm going to be sharing with you today. Okay, but there's 7 discrete steps that allow you to target and isolate the discrete building blocks of personality and identity, so that when you begin the process of addressing yourself, addressing the aspects of your unconscious mind through this process, you can literally rewrite who you want to be, and you can become more of the person that you want to be, rather than the person that culture, family, religion, peer pressure have kind of programmed you to be. So this is the basic big picture. It starts with learning to purge generalized negativity. Now, generalized negativity can be any form of negative imprint that you've picked up, from a belief to a memory to a trauma, to a history of bad programming, anything that just kind of gets baked into in there. It may not be causing you a direct problem, but it's exacerbating the problem. Kind of like soaking the pot before you put it in the dishwasher or you scrub the problem areas. Then we're going to talk about special negativity clearing. And what special negativity clearing does is it targets what we call secondary gain or safety lessons. Many times when we go through problems in our life, especially if they've happened to us more than once, our unconscious mind creates a mechanism that says, hey, every time he's had a business, he's lost it and it's hurt everyone around him, including himself. I have to make sure that this never happens to him again. I know if I make sure he never starts another business, he can never lose it. Therefore, he'll never be hurt. And so what happens is people will start a business, or they'll go for the next relationship or the next repetition of the thing that's important to them in life. And for whatever reason, they can't seem to get out of the box. They can't seem to make that leap. And for those particular situations, we have a very special category of interventions that we do. We call that specialized negativity. Okay, so the next phase is to install driver states. This is where understanding what are the emotional states, the psycho-emotional states that lead to success on a constant basis, that we want to install as the default mechanism in our body. And we're going to talk about it. Then we would change your internal dialogue. We would actually focus in on how we change that voice in your head that's constantly criticizing you, telling you don't deserve something, telling you can't have something. You know, in case you're wondering what I mean when I say internal dialogue, it's that voice in your head that just said what voice, right? Okay, finally, we're going to teach you how to purge all the negativity from your past. We call this temporal editing, so that when you look back on the past, you only remember it in ways that make your life better. Each of these are modules in our program, and that our trainers and our practitioners are intensely trained in how to perform. Then we're going to install everything we've done here as a template before your very first memory. Now, one of the things you should probably know is that the most powerful memories that we have, let me go back to my, from zero, I mean, when I say zero, I mean from conception all the way up to about 5 years old is one of the most important and critical time periods of our life. The foundations and platforms, the general direction of our life is laid out 0 to 5 for the vast majority of people. So once we take you through general negativity, specialized negativity, default driver states, internal dialogue, cleansing your past, we're going to take all of that work that we've done and we're going to install it at age 0, so that it becomes a template and a resource for all of your memories to be refracted through. If you can imagine taking a white light and shining it through a prism, and as the white light shines through that prism, it changes and bends the light. Well, your beliefs, your memories, the templates installed at the genetic level act very much like a filter or a lens that all of the experiences that you've recorded are interpreted through. And so we can actually inject reinterpretations at the ages of 0 to 5, and everything in your life changes automatically like dominoes in a row, right? It's actually a pretty straightforward process once you've had the proper training. Obviously, we're not going to have time to go that in depth today, but we're going to give you the foundations, things that you can start doing right away that will completely transform how you run your mind and body and give you the foundations to build upon. And if you want to go further, if you want to take the next step, then and learn the rest of these processes and apply them to yourself, to your clients, what have you, then I'll show you how to do that in the most powerful way possible. Okay. So let me jump back to my PowerPoint really quick. So what's really cool about this process is once we've installed all of this, can I do that here? Hold on a second. Once we've installed all of this here, then we start looking at trait installation. And what this means is we actually look at the people, the places whose traits, qualities, characteristics, attributes that you admire, who you'd like to have more of in your life. And we teach you through a process called Magic Circle, also known as Deep Trance Identification. We teach you exactly how to do that. So you can have those traits and qualities and attributes imprinted in you. You can do it yourself, or you can have one of our people do it. And then we run you through this whole process again with these new traits and attributes, and we improve, and we're constantly, we give you the keys to constantly update your internal maps, your internal programming, so that you become the person that you want to be, rather than the person that environment, religion, society, peer pressure, family pressure conspired to make you. Does that sound like a cool thing? Do you think that might be useful? Go ahead and type in the chat if you think it's useful. Okay, excellent. All right, so let me go ahead and jump back to me. Actually, let me see here. Okay, so let me erase this because this is our first exercise. Remember when I asked you what you want to get out of today's training? Here's where it becomes important. For this exercise, you will need a pen or a pencil and some paper, something to write on. Okay, let me jump to my OneNote really quick. Okay. So this is a menu for today, in case you didn't see it before. We're going to talk about the two most important, oops, I got a typo here. Two most important factors for success: rules of the mind, body center, energy psychology, reprogramming your subconscious mind. So let's jump into the two most important factors with regard to, actually, let me look at my notes real quick because I might have to jump around. Okay, here we are. This is the piece I want you to play with, first and foremost. The two most important factors to becoming successful in life are A, your identity, who you are and what you believe, what you think you deserve. And B, oops, where is it? Oh, here it is. I didn't highlight it. Action. These are the two key factors that are going to determine how far you get, how fast. Now, before we jump into the big picture here, I want us to make sure that everything we're going to talk about is relevant to you. We're going to do that using doing a very special drill. Paul Dini says, I have many questions. I don't know if I could ask that much. What's the best technique to apply with an online Zoom Skype interaction? Someone who has something to deal with. Follow along, Paul, because you're on it, okay? So this is what we call the emotional motivation checklist. This is an emotional motivation drill. Everything human beings do, human beings have a checklist for everything that they do. They have a checklist for how they buy clothes. They have a checklist for why they want to get skinny. They have a checklist for how they want to be, how they want to be seen, right? So at the beginning of this webinar, I asked you, what do you want? What do you want from this seminar? What's it going to do for you, right? Now, here's what I want you to do. Now, you can write these, you can type these in the chat. I'm okay with that. But what's more important is that you write them down. And as you write them down, I'm going to ask you to start to notice body feelings and where you feel. And I want you to say these things out loud to yourself. Because as we go through this, what's going to happen, if you're doing it properly, is you're going to notice emotions coming up. And emotions are the fuel that drive change. Emotions are the fuel that drive action and identity. So once we understand that everything that we want, everything we don't want, has a checklist. And when human beings move through the world, basically governed by a checklist. Now, sometimes they know what those checklists are consciously, and many times they don't. And part of my job as your teacher today is to teach you how to become more self-aware. Now, many times when people tell you what they want, or you talk to yourself about what you want, you use certain words to do it, right? But it's not that surface level thing many times that is really what you want. It's what that surface level thing gets for you. Does that make sense? If you understand where I'm going with this, especially if you're new, type it in the chat. Okay, Robin Torrey says your desire list. Yeah, but there's a structure. Believe it or not, there's a structure to our desires. And that's what we need to understand. We need to understand human beings in terms of their energy, their emotional energy, the output, the direction their fuel takes them. We need to understand the structure of how they do things so that we can change it. What you say when you talk to yourself. Yes. Now, here's the thing that we need to understand. Everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. It's either a feeling they want a whole lot more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. When you start to talk to yourself about why you're on this webinar and what's important to you about that, you're going to generate body feelings. And there are going to be emotions connected to that. And we want to do that. We want you to connect those emotions to everything you're getting from this webinar so you become highly motivated to follow the instructions and the directions the way that we teach them to you. Because if there's no motivation, there's no change, right? If there's no emotion, there's no change, right? And that brings us to the two biggest factors once again: who you are as a person, how you see yourself, and what you feel you deserve in the world. We're going to kind of break down the structure of your belief systems, because there's two kinds of beliefs that you have. There's beliefs you know about and beliefs you don't. And we want you to be able to begin to understand those beliefs, not just from a content level, in other words, the movie of what made you believe what you believe, but understanding it in a way that you can actually change it, right? And that means we have to take a hands-on approach. You have to experience these things. Now, again, you don't have to believe anything I'm going to share with you on this webinar. I'm going to be here for a while, okay? I'm going to talk till about 5:15, we're gonna show you the program we've put together for you. Once that's done, we're gonna circle back and we're gonna go through that agenda that I outlined for you, so you know where everything I'm sharing with you is from the package I'm gonna be talking about later. So you can take this out right into the world and start making changes. In fact, I'm a little nervous about all this content because I usually charge for some of this stuff. But that being said, let's understand emotion. Everything human beings do is in response to a feeling. It's a feeling they want more of or a feeling they want a whole lot less of. Is that clear? Dave says, Rob is asking, can I go back to the slide, please? Yes. Here we go. Okay, so since we're back on the slide, let's do this really quick. Emotional motivation checklist. First and foremost, what do you want from today's seminar? Write it down. Type it in the chat if you want to. I may use it as an example, or I may just let you guys play with this on your own. Now, stop for a moment, close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and imagine for a moment that you actually have it now. What do you see when you're in that place? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you taste? Because when you're in that place, when you see what you see and you hear what you hear, and you smell and you taste what you smell and you taste, there's a feeling that you get, a feeling that lets you know, hey, I got this. This is awesome. I want you to notice where in your body that feeling starts, and go ahead and point to it. Note that off to the side. Okay. Core Galaxy is asking, has got his hand raised, if somebody could answer their question. I'll try and circle back. Okay. So now going back to the PowerPoint. So we've all got that body feeling, right? Now ask yourself this question, go with your first response. If you have, once you have it, now that you've got it, what's important to you about having it? What's important to you about getting it? And type that in the, in the chat, or just write it underneath what you've done, what you write. Okay. And when you've done that, type that in the chat. Just type done in the chat. You don't have to tell me what you're typing in terms of what it's going to do for you, because I don't care. I mean, and I don't. And when I say I don't care, is I'm not going to judge it, right? If you want to go out and nail, have sex with anything with a pulse that will let you, that's fine. If you want to go out and make lots and lots of money and buy an island in the Bahamas, I'm not going to judge that. All I care about is that when you write these things down, you've got a feeling connected to it, and when you have it, you know what's important about having it. Okay, and write that down, right? Because as you write those things down, you link it to the tools you're going to get on this webinar, you're going to find yourself extremely motivated, because you know what the reward is. You know what you're going to get as a byproduct of doing this process and taking the next steps. Okay. Now, if you had that thing, what comes up next? What's important about having that one thing? So think about it like the same question repeated 2 or 3 times. What do you want? What's important about getting it? If you had it, what would you do with it? Or what would that mean? Or how it changes would that be for you in your life? And then what's important about that? Write your answers and repeat this process, and just keep drilling down on your previous answer. Is it clear what I want you to do? Peace. Okay, perfect. Peace is excellent. Done. Now just keep asking this. What do you want? What's important about having it? If you had it, what would that do for you? What's important about that? And then write your answers and speak them out loud. Now, when you now Timothy Fox is saying up chunk peace. When you get to a word like peace, which is actually what we call an unspecified verb, or a nominalization, that's good enough. That's a process that's been turned into a thing. But I want you to just keep drilling down until you've got the feelings connected to that. And what I want you to do is as you go through this process, I want you to connect those feelings and the attainment of those feelings to the tools that we're going to get. Okay. Now, what we've just done is, in an indirect way, we've tapped into a level of your belief system known as values. Values are the checklists that determine what is desirable and undesirable in our life. Whether you consciously realize it or not, there is not a single thing that human beings do, that you do, that doesn't have a value belief structure connected to it. Now, those value systems have 3 parts. There's a checklist. There's a feeling that having that checklist satisfied creates within you. And then there's a name we give to that feeling. You understand that? Checklist, feeling, label, right? What you want to do is you want to know what that checklist is, what the feeling you want when you get it is, and what you call it. Okay? So as you go through that hierarchy and you connect those processes to everything we're talking about today, you'll discover that you have a lot more desire to follow the process. And as you follow the process, you'll discover new and exciting ways that you can begin to use your neurology to make powerful changes and take all the steps necessary to become the person you want to be. Is that a fair exchange? Learning about you so you can become a better you? Type if you think that's cool. Now, take a moment, type in the chat. I want you to take a moment, speak these things out loud to yourself. No one can hear you. By the way, if you're watching or listening to this webinar while driving a car, stop, not in traffic. This webinar is going to engage several processes that require you to engage in altered state work. And I do not want you driving or operating machinery or anything that requires your full and undivided attention while attending and participating in this webinar. Listen to it, avoid doing the exercise if you're driving, and when you are free and safe, go back and watch the replay and do the drills and follow the instructions. Is that clear? I want everybody to be safe doing this. Beth so far says, thanks, I'm crying like a baby. Excellent. So did you feel something when you spoke it out loud? Yes or no? Yes or yes, as Paul T.R. Becker would say. This is one of the keys. Writing it down is powerful. But when you speak it, when you externalize the desire, you bring it to life. This is one of the most important and often not taught principles of manifestation. How many here are interested in learning how to manifest stuff? Yes or yes? Okay. Here's one of the things they leave out. And it goes to number 2 of the key factors to success. Whenever you create an affirmation or a vision board, or you do image cycling or timeline therapy, or whatever you're doing, no matter what you do inside, you must balance it with taking action, because there's a filter in place I call the externalization filter. If you don't get it out of your head, out of your neurology, and express it into the world in some form of action, it becomes impotent. It's very, very difficult to get to the loving term, to impregnate the universe, right? Those of you who've been around Planet David know I teach a lot of manifestation techniques. One of the principles I stress over and over again in our hidden laws of attraction classes and our vibrational influence classes is, if you want to manifest things, you must externalize what you create inside. You must externalize it. And we're going to teach you the principles behind that. You're going to come away with a huge boatload of actionable things, right? And this is the very first one. If you want to motivate yourself, this is the process that you use. If you want to motivate other people, this is the process that you use. You ask them the exact same questions I asked you, and you use their responses to link what you want them to do to what you're offering. Okay? Jorge Delgado says, writing on paper is one thing, speaking it out loud involves more vibration. Yes, this is what we call the logos, or the power of the word. It has been known for centuries, but it's largely been hidden, mistranslated, unexplained in an actionable way. You must externalize. Now, you can externalize it through speaking, which is my favorite way to do it, the most powerful way to do it. You can externalize it through writing. If you write it and speak it and act it out at the same time, you get a synergy. You get a whole that's greater than the sum of the parts. Okay, so Sharon's saying, I just missed this and found the webinar. Will it be? Yes, there will be. Okay, so are we cool so far? Is everybody with me? Use. Okay, cool. Let's go back to this. All right, so once again, factor 1, identity. John Assaraf is quoted as saying, it's impossible to out-earn your level of self-esteem, what you think you deserve. So as we move through the world, we develop a self-concept. That self-concept is based on life experience and belief systems. One second, move this out of the way. Now, NLP has isolated for us the hierarchy of human beliefs, okay? And one of the things that you'll notice if we look at this hierarchy of beliefs is that spirituality and purpose are at the apex, or the apex piece. Right below that is identity, beliefs and values, capabilities, behaviors, and environment. Now, when we start talking about this hierarchy of beliefs, the important thing to remember is that, hold on a second, let me see if I can do some drawing here. The beliefs at the top control the beliefs at the bottom. Now, the drill that we just did, the emotional motivation process, accessed this, beliefs and values, which means it's right up there. It forms a pillar of your identity. It forms a pillar of what you believe and what you'll accept for yourself. If you don't believe you deserve something, you will find ways to self-sabotage. Anybody here have problems with self-sabotage? All my life? Chances are there was a conflict here. Okay. The things that you are manifesting in your life were in conflict with a belief that you held at one of these upper levels. Now, conversely, what happens many times is we often confuse things that happen down here with things that are up here. So anytime you hear the words I am, what you're hearing is what in NLP we like to call an identity statement. An identity statement is where we confuse something we're capable of, or some behavior that we do, or something in the environment with who we are. And once you change that hierarchy, everything below it falls into place. Now, we're not going to cover these things from an NLP perspective. It gets kind of complicated. I make kind of a joke that to err is human. To really complicate things, you need a neuro-linguistic programmer. But this is everything we're going to talk about is going to be dealing with belief systems at the identity or values level. Is that clear so far? Yes or yes? Okay. Is this useful? Just let me just take your temperature. Do you find this useful so far? Okay. I get paranoid sometimes that sometimes people aren't getting what I'm trying to share with you. Now, the hierarchy I showed you, that little apex with spirituality, identity, beliefs and values, capabilities, and behaviors and environment. The behaviors at the top control the behaviors at the bottom. But regardless of what level of the hierarchy that belief is held at, get ready for this, they're all built from the same thing. You understand that? Every belief that you have is made of the same bricks and mortar. Okay? Oftentimes I ask people, what are thoughts made out of? And people give me all kinds of interesting answers. They give me answers like energy or vibration or feelings, right? Lana's asking, why not start with spirituality, purpose, instead of focusing on identity? Because most of the time, people have a very vague idea of spirituality and purpose. But we do have a training that focuses specifically on that. It's called Secrets of the Golden Path. And it's a face reading, it's a course that involves face reading and doing a very intense audit of your life history to determine what your spiritual purpose in this life is. You can impact spirituality and purpose using this same system. I will tell you that right up front. If you want to go there, you can. But you're working at a very high and very abstract level of self-concept. And what I have seen clinically for most people is that the identity level is where most of our stuff, most of our problems are held. It's not the spirituality level. There's almost like a fire, believe it or not, there's almost like a firewall between the spiritual level and the purpose level and the identity level. Many times, how many of you, just so I understand you better, how many of you actually do any kind of client or coaching work? If you do, type that in the chat. I want to see how many of those people I have. Okay, all right. maybe you've had this experience where you have a client come in and they just look at you and says, you know, I just wish I knew, I know I'm meant for something. I wish I knew what my purpose in this life was. You ever have that question come up? Have you ever asked that question? Okay, excellent. If you're getting that question, then Golden Path training is really where you want to go. It builds on the work that we're doing. Okay, but Golden Path is about, and we call it Ming in Chinese medicine, which means destiny. It's your mandate from heaven. Ming is all about not you're finding your ideal job or career path, but it's about finding the life path, which may include a career, a series of activities that you're here to do, a long-term change that you're here to manifest. The work that we're doing in this webinar is the foundation and the building block to getting on that golden path. It leads to that spirituality and purpose level. But many times the things at the lower levels of our belief hierarchy are the things that are stopping us from getting on that golden path. And the problem is that, of course, that we have, we have the spiritual purpose that we came into this life for, but something at the belief, at the identity level or the values level or the capabilities level, usually values level, by the way, because values are taught. And that's the problem. If you've ever, again, type in the chat room if this is true for you. If you've ever done something or had an activity that you absolutely loved, a talent or a skill or an ability that you had when you were little or young, that made you feel alive, that made you feel life was worth living, and the people in your life said, no, that's not acceptable. They crushed your dream, so to speak. If you've ever had that experience, type it in the chat. Okay, I'm going to bet that the vast majority of those happen somewhere between 0 and 10 years old. True or true? Okay, welcome to that critical period, 0 to 5. And what you're seeing is an identity and values impregnation of belief. Somebody's imposing a belief system on you when you're too young to prevent it. And that blocks you from getting on your spiritual path. Because the identity filter is directly below. Again, going back to this this graphic, the identity filter is directly below the spirituality filter, which is directly above the beliefs and values. So when you're 0 to 5, you have no knowledge base, you have no database or previous understanding of the way the world is supposed to be. So anything that gets injected here, hold on a second. Anything that gets injected here is what blocks you. When you come in, you're given for whatever, you develop a firewall that keeps the conscious understanding of this out of your awareness. But there are body feelings that let you know when you're on it and when you're not. So if you've ever done anything that lit you up when you were a kid, this was because it was in harmony with your spiritual purpose. Okay. Are you guys following me so far? Does that make sense? Okay. Okay. Now, when I ask what are thoughts made out of, I inevitably get all kinds of answers, but I'm going to give you the short answer. Okay. The structure of your thoughts oops, where is it? Where did that go? There we go. The structure of your thoughts is made out of 5 primary building blocks: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, gustatory, data. That data interacts with your nervous system and the internal filters that you have to create an electromagnetic field or a filing cabinet around your body. That field is organized in a very specific way. Anything in the front of your body is an open, active, and pending file. Anything that's behind you is closed. Okay, we're going to revisit these very shortly, but this is where we start to get into programming your future and clearing your past. Okay, we can do it through our languaging. We can do it through our body. We're going to show you how to integrate those. Okay, so once again, let's go back. Factor 1, your identity. Who you are, what you believe. Don Assaraf is probably the best quoted source, saying you can't out-earn your level of self-confidence and self-esteem. If you've ever known anybody who's won a lottery or won a big cash prize and put them in a completely different tax bracket, and 2 years later, 3 years later, they're completely broken back to the same situation that they're in, you've encountered this. Now, you have two kinds of beliefs. You have beliefs you know about and the beliefs that you don't know about. People think that beliefs are these big, unchangeable, iceberg type or iceberg sized things that run our life. But they're not. I mean, they function that way, but a lot of it when we come to belief system is actually smoke and mirrors. Belief systems are actually decisions. They're decisions about the way the world is based on the information, the emotion, and the perspective that we had at the time. And each and every one of those things is encoded. Wait a minute, where'd it go? Here we go. This way. In our terminology, we call that V, A, K. You know what? I'm just gonna do this way. We call this coding system VACOG. Okay? Every single thing human beings do is built of a visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory components. The difference here is that if you just do this as a construct inside of your head, it's very weak. Sometimes it gets changed and sometimes it doesn't. Would it be okay to actually show you a way to make this change even more powerful and more permanent, even if you don't necessarily believe it? Would that be useful? Okay, so I'm going to run through some other principles. When I reach the 5 o'clock mark or the 5:15 mark, if it's okay with you, I'd like to show you the full package we've put together. Is that okay? Robin uses a swish technique. Robin, if you just add one tweak to your swish, it's going to be orders of, you may have already figured this out, but I'm going to show it to you. Okay, very cool. Okay, let me see here. So let's go back to this. All right, let's talk about the rules of the mind. Let me finish this real quick. Action. I want to talk about this before we take in everything that we're going to show you today in terms of the identity, your belief systems, how to change them, is impotent if you don't take action. Everything that we're going to teach you involves altered states of consciousness. We codename that ASC. If you can't alter your state, you can't make change. Okay, so we're going to show you altered states, a quick and easy way to do that. Any form of internal alchemical work must be balanced with the appropriate actions we take in the material world. People don't take action for one of two reasons. A, mindset. They know what to do, but for some reason they can't bring themselves to do it. Anybody here fall into that category? Like, they have all the skills, they have all the tools, they know what to do, they know where to do it, but for some reason they just can't bring themselves to take action. Anybody here fit that category? Doctorate in procrastination. Right on. Okay. Now there's also another one. Sometimes many times when it's a mindset of this nature, it's lack of deservingness or other limiting beliefs. Sometimes it's fear of success, fear of failure. You can be amazed how many times people don't take action because if they were successful, they would become somebody that they were taught was a bad person. You see this a lot when people are trying to accumulate wealth, because when they were growing up, all they heard was rich people do this and rich people do that, right? And when you start to unpack the beliefs you didn't know you have, you find that in some way, somehow they've internalized an external program that says rich people are bad. Rich people cheat, rich people don't deserve the success they've had, yada, yada, yada. These are beliefs that get kind of grafted onto our primary belief systems, and we don't pay a lot of attention to them because they don't make sense and we edit them. We're going to talk about why that's true in a minute. Okay. So that's one of the reasons, is mindset. Mindset is usually a factor. Okay. Now, sometimes it's not a mindset. Sometimes it's a skill set. And what this means is these are people who want to take action. They're ready. They're ready to press the go button. They're chomping at the bit, but they don't know how. They don't know what steps to take. They don't know when to take those steps. They don't know where to take that action, right? And these people need training. Many times it's training they don't know they need. Okay. Anybody here like that? It's like you have all this desire to make your way in the world, but you don't know the first place to start or first place to go, right? This leads me to a quote. One of my instructors, one of my teachers when I was studying luminescence, passed on a quote to me from her mother. It goes something like this: you can be, do, or have anything you want in this world. But first, you must first become the person who deserves to have it. Does that make sense? Sometimes there's a skill set or a set of skills that we need, and the sheer amount of training that we need to get from where we are to where we want to be is daunting. It's going to take too long. It's going to take, it's going to take too much energy or too effort. When you find yourself saying it's going to cost too much, it's going to take too long, it's too much work, what you're really saying, believe it or not, I don't deserve it. And this is where mindset often subverts skill set, because when we look at where we are and where we want to be, the gap is too big. We say to ourselves, wow, I would really love to have a doctorate, but man, that's 4 years of schooling and extra money and extra expense and yada, yada, yada. Well, yeah. Are you ready to become the person who deserves to have that? If you're not, right? So mindset interacts with skill set, and many times we confuse one for the other. So one of the things I want you to do is have clarity. Do you, in fact, have the skill sets to do what you need to do? If you do, but you're just not pulling that trigger, then we need to focus in on belief systems, sabotage, mindset, what have you. But are you like totally motivated? If somebody told you do this, do this, do this, do this, do this today, you would do it. Then you're fine. But you don't have that, then it's a skill set. Does that make sense? I know I hope I'm not insulting anybody's intelligence by this, but sometimes the secret to success is really fucking simple. Fucking do it, right? And everybody's looking for a shortcut. Everybody's looking for the next hack. Here's the most powerful hack that I have found. Be willing to do whatever it takes first, because as you start taking the steps towards the thing you say you want, the universe will test you. And as you go through those obstacles, as you develop the willingness to go through those, the relentlessness to go through those obstacles, no matter what, many of those seeming obstacles evaporate because they were illusions to begin with, or the universe realigns itself. Your unconscious mind finds a way to circumvent that after you've demonstrated the relentless commitment to getting it. That's a mindset. That's why in our Identity by Design program, one of the first traits we install in all of our practitioners is be relentless, get the change no matter what. If you go to an Identity by Design practitioner with a problem, you will not get out of that room until you've got the change and you're satisfied with it. Okay, that's one of the things we install. We program our practitioners to do that, right? And that's one of the things that if you want to be successful, I have met geniuses in the gutter. I have met idiots who are millionaires, right? I've seen idiots who are billionaires. Some of them might even run the country from time to time, right? But one of the things that they have in abundance is relentless determination. Regardless of anything else, right? We're going to show you ways to hack that, right? But this is something I want you to embrace, okay? As you apply the technologies that we go through, I want you to become intensely curious. I want you to play with these skills. The more playful you are, the more powerful you're going to become, okay? I want you to apply a sense of relentlessness to this. Most of the things that I'm going to show you, you don't have to believe, but you do have to do them. And if you do them with a playful sense of relentless curiosity of what's going to happen next, and you just do enough reps, the change will lock in. Does that help you? Yes or no? Now, everything that I'm talking about, mindset, skill set, belief systems, identity, deservingness, guess what? Each and every one of them is a program that your neurology is running. Each and every one of them is built from the same stuff. And once you know how the system works, you can change it. Okay? You can change it. And the first thing we have to learn is what I lovingly call altered states of consciousness. We need the ability to go into and out of any type of mind-body state we necessary on demand. Okay? And there's some principles that govern that, and I'm going to cover those. Is that okay? And then we're going to do technique. Okay, so here's the first thing. Before we jump into the big program where all this stuff comes from, let's do a quick altered state exercise. Okay, this is I lovingly call this the frame game, because there's some words I'm going to throw at you that you may think you know what they mean, and the problem is that you think you know what they mean, right? Because when I say the words, your brain is going to open up. It's going to run through all the files it has connected to the words I'm about to use, and it's going to throw its own meaning to the words I'm giving you. I want to run you through a couple of drills right now that will allow you, as a practitioner, as a person who is self-programming, self-empowering, I want you to be able to alter your state like that. And I want you to begin to access the code by which all of your beliefs, all of your memories, all of your body feelings, all of your behaviors are built from. Would that be useful? Type in the chat if you think that's useful. Perfect. Okay, first and foremost, how many of you here, just type it in the chat. I would normally, or raise your hand and then type it in the chat. How many of you here have ever been little children? Raise your hands, right? Now, how many of you, when you were little children, played pretend? Right? Now, obviously, I can't see all of you, but I'm going to assume that you were none of you were born from a test tube fully formed, right? You aren't clones, right? How many of you, when you were little children, played pretend? And maybe you like to be a superhero, or maybe you like to be a police officer or a soldier, or maybe you were a tomboy or a girly girl and you did things that boys like to do. And maybe you were a boy who liked the things girls like to do, right? Doesn't matter. There was probably at least 1 or 2 times in your life when you were out in the backyard playing pretend. Yes or yes? I was born from the head of Zeus, Joshua says, right? Now, I'm going to use the soldier metaphor, but again, insert into this process any time when this was true for you. Maybe you're out in the backyard, you're 5, 6 years old, you're playing soldier or Wonder Woman or Superman or Batman or doctor or whatever, scientist, rock star, right? And maybe you pick up a stick and you're pretending that it's a microphone, right? Have we ever done this, right? Air banded in front of a mirror, right? We did this as adults, right? Pretending we were the star of the show, right? Wanted to be a ninja, right? And you knew for the first 5 minutes that maybe you were just holding a brush and you were not really that rock star, or maybe it was just a toy stick and you weren't really a soldier for about the first 5 minutes. About 6.5 minutes later, you're really Rambo, that's really an M16, or you're John Bon Jovi or Rat or whatever, Kiss or whatever, and you're rocking the stage and jumping up and down and getting into the music, and you're having a ball. because you forgot that you weren't that person. You remember those moments? If you did, type it in the chat. Okay. A couple questions for you. When you were in that state, were you asleep? No? Were you focused intently on what you were doing? Were you completely absorbed in that process, in that experience? Were you having a ball? Were you having the best time ever? Here's the secret, my friends. If you can do that, just that, with a few guidelines, you can make any change that you want. Any change. All you got to do is be absorbed, focused, and playful, and follow the instructions. Can you do that? It wasn't pretend, it was profoundly real visualization. Yes, very good. Bring it on. Cool. All right. So here's what we're going to do, if it's okay. You know what? We'll do part of it, then we'll do the offer. We'll come back and we'll continue with our training. Is that okay? All right, cool. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Let that breath out with a sigh. Deeper and deeper with every breath you take and every beat of your heart. I want you to just relax. Let go. Listen to the sound of my voice. Any sounds you hear other than the sounds of my voice or simply the sounds of our natural environment, they're not going to disturb you or distract you in any way. In fact, all they're going to do is signal you, remind you, reinforce inside your mind, body, and soul the fact that you're completely safe. That no matter how far inside you travel, no matter how deep inside you go, you will always, always, always be able to hear my words, follow my instructions, obey my commands, because you realize that everything I say and everything I do is for you, to give you the life and the lifestyle that you want, the way that you want it, by your standards and your definitions. Now, in a moment, not yet, but in just a moment, I want you to fly back on the wings of time to a time in your life when you felt the most amazing, thrilling, fulfilling, satisfying pleasure ever. Not that one. No, I'm teasing. Okay. I'm not the pleasure police. I don't care where you were, what you were doing, who you were with, what substances were involved, whether you crossed any state lines. All I care about is when you stop and remember that amazing experience, when you see what you see and you hear what you hear and you smell and you taste what you smell and you taste. There's an amazing, wonderful feeling that you get, a feeling of absolute pleasure. And there's a place in your body where those feelings start, where they grow, where they spread from. Take a moment, point to where you feel that. As you notice that place where you feel that amazing sensation, if there were a color, maybe even a series of colors connected to those amazing feelings, I'm curious what color or colors that might be for you, first impression. You don't need to type it in the chat, just notice what color that is. When you've got that, imagine a beautiful ball of that energy floating above your head. I'd like you to notice how the feelings in your body shift and change as with every breath you take and every beat of your heart, that amazing ball of pleasure begins to grow, begins to expand, begins to fill the entire room from floor to ceiling, from wall to wall, at all points in between. Notice how it wraps itself around you like an amazing blanket of pleasure, a cocoon, a shield, a suit of armor, insulating and protecting you from all negativity, all threats, real or imagined, while at the same time flooding your mind, flooding your body, flooding your spirit with all the pleasures it most wants, all the pleasures it most needs in an infinite, ever expanding and unlimited supply. And when you know you've got that, breathe those amazing feelings through your entire being. Let it fill you up like water fills up a bottle, like fluid fills up a test tube, like hot air or helium fills up a balloon. Anchor it in so fully, so completely, no force in the universe can turn it off or take it away, not even you. And when you know you've got that, you know it's locked in, test it. Try to turn it off, try to take it away, and notice what happens instead. When you're satisfied, type in the chat what you discovered. What happened when you try to take it away? It won't stop? Oh shit, you mean you're stuck feeling good now? Bummer. Very cool, right? For some of you, great, excellent. Now, close your eyes once again. again, focus on this, where that feeling emerged from. If there were a picture floating in the space around you, a picture that you could reach out and touch the spot where the feeling is in your body, and then reach out and touch the picture floating in the space around you. When you've got that, trace the outline of it with both of your hands so you know how big it is. When you've got that, make sure we've got the right one. Grab that picture, and just like you would expand the windows on your iPhone or your touchscreen at home, make that picture as big as the room, and notice what happens to the feelings in your body. Type that in the chat. What happens? Rush. I'm laughing, damn, right? People are asking if you can do this over Skype, if you can do this over Zoom. Guess what? Okay, excellent. Close your eyes once again, reach up, touch that picture once again, bring it back to its original size. Now, keep the size of the picture exactly the same. And this time what I want you to do is I want you to slowly pull that picture closer to your body and notice what happens to the feeling. Does it get stronger? Does it get weaker? By the way, there's no wrong answer. Twine says, the damn dog jumped on me. She wants part of that good feeling too, huh? Get used to that. By the way, when you start doing this around pets, they get excited. It's warmer, it's intensified. Excellent. Very cool. Now, just for fun, take the picture that you're holding, lift it up over your head, wrap it around you like a big blanket. Wrap it around you like a big blanket and notice what happens. Tell me what, type in the chat what happens when you wrap it around you. That's always the best. Tingles, right? Excellent. You've just entered the world of body-centered energetic psychotherapy or psychology, okay? You've entered the world of what we call body-centered hypnotherapy or body-centered energy psychology. This is basically how your neurology creates all of your experiences and guides your behaviors, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs. Now, I gave you a brief introduction to this. When we return from our offer process, we are going to go deep dive into this system. We are going to show you step by step the principles that govern the mind. We're going to show you the principles behind energy-centered or body-centered psychotherapy or psychology, energy psychology rather. We're going to show you how to integrate that to program your future, clear up your past, get rid of procrastination, all the things that we talked about, okay? Phil says it gets a lot stronger. Absolutely. And here's the best part. It sounds weird, but the more you play with this, the stronger it gets. The more you do this, the stronger it gets. The reason we focus on pleasure is because it generates a massive release of dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. It creates a state of accelerated, enhanced neuroplasticity. In other words, the chemical makeup in your body changes in such a way that it's easier to write new programs or change existing ones. You guys get that? Now, there's a lot more to this, and we'll cover that when we get back. Is it okay to take things to the next level? Is it okay to talk to you about what we've got coming up so you can really get the biggest bang for your buck? Is it okay to do that? Go ahead and type that in the chat if you think that's a fair trade. Cool. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So are you ready? With permission, I'd like to talk to you about our secrets of personality transformation. This is how you take things to the next level. This is our Ultra Mind Control Training for Success home study course. Now, let me just cover a few basic understandings. One of the problems that we have with in Planet David is that I am a big proponent of live in-person trainings. I do not think, I mean, you know, a lot of my peers in the NLP world do everything online, and I'm not faulting that. The problem if you've got a fully online course is that there's no quality control. there's no supervision. There's no vetting of the students to make sure, A, they've done the work properly, and they've gotten the change no matter what. So one of the things you can count on in Planet David is that no matter what training I'm teaching, no matter what topic we're covering, there will be a strong, strong, strong emphasis on getting the hands-on experience. You've got to do that. If you want to own, remember I talked about there's 2 key factors to success, identity and action. You've got to get your skin in the game. You got to roll up your sleeves. You got to make that second payment, as I like to tell my students. I tell my students, for every single thing you get from me, you will always pay twice. First one is the whatever the tuition is, right? It's money. You can always make more money. The second one is the one that most people have trouble making or are a little hesitant to make. And that is the second payment of time, energy, and effort, of action, to take the skills and do the drills. The first payment gives you access. The second payment gives you ownership. And so one of the big problems that we had when this whole COVID thing came about was that everything went online, right? And so I started looking at, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to make sure that people get the kind of training that I know they need to do this stuff anytime, anywhere, for any reason? Because that's what we do. That's, if you ask any of my students in the chat who've been around what the live trainings are like versus the virtual trainings and things like that, they'll tell you it's night and day. So with that understanding in mind, I had to think about, well, what if they can't get to training, but they need the skill sets? What's a good second choice? And so I sat down and I started saying, okay, well, if we had to do this mostly online, what series of courses, or what order and sequence of courses would give them the most power and the biggest skill sets that would allow them to do this stuff for themselves, by themselves, if they're, with support, of course. And so what I'm about to present to you is the fruits of that process of thinking about, what courses can I give? How can I do this in such a way that people get exactly what they need? Now, a lot of you are here to help others, but a lot of you are here to help yourselves, and that's okay, because that's where we start. We have to start with you. If you can't help yourself, what good are you to the world, right? You almost wind up feeling like a phony. So with that in mind, I want you to attach everything I'm about to share with you to why you're on this webinar in the first place, and realize this is how you get it, okay? So in this Secrets of Personality Transformation program, it's all about helping you take your life to the next level. Maybe that's making more money, closing more deals, getting more dates, helping more people, feeling more confident, powerful, winning at the game of life, becoming more charming or charismatic or irresistible. It's all in here. It's all possible for you if you follow the instructions, okay? Here's what we put together. Now, this offer expires October 1st, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. So please keep that in mind, okay? I want to talk to you about the Secrets of Personality, Ultra Mind Control Transformation, Mental Training Skills for Success. It's a 14-video program, and it has the 7-stage identity by design process for mind controlling. It's going to teach you how to clear unconsciously held emotions, negative beliefs, things you don't even know that you have. It's one module devoted strictly to that. We have 3 or 4 techniques within that process. It's a $297 value. We're going to teach you how to remove those unconscious safety rules, those secondary gains, those limiters that your unconscious mind imposes on you that are keeping you stuck. Even though you know what to do, you know when to do it, but for some reason you just can't pull the trigger a second, third, or fourth time. We're going to show you how to target and eliminate all of those barriers so you can get back on track in the shortest amount of time possible. That's a $297 value just there. We're going to teach you how to change and reprogram the negative voices in your head that hold you back, so that they lift you up and build you up and move you forward and inspire and motivate you, instead of tearing you down and making you feel less than worthy and less than deserving. It's a $297 value. We're going to teach you through a process we call the Pillars of Power, the 4 key psychological attributes or traits or states that lead to success. We're going to teach you how to be powerful, how to be victorious, relentless, playful, curious, on demand, so that you move through the world with these default states. When I was going through all the different states that I thought were most useful for success, the ones I kept coming back to over and over and over again were these 4 states. And when you have these states on tap, when you can control your state and enter a state of playfulness, a state of curiosity, a state of victoriousness, a state of determination on demand, then you're gonna radiate charisma wherever you go. You're gonna be able to take the actions you need to take. You're gonna be able to ask the right questions. And how many of you, just by a quick show of hands in the chat or whatever, how many of you would like to be 30% smarter, 30% more creative, 30% more persuasive? How would you like to be 30% better at everything you do? One of those traits will allow you to do that. That's playfulness. If you can have that sense of playfulness and pleasure on demand, you will be 30% better at it. And that's what the science is showing us. That's what the science is telling us. When you can move through the world in a state of playful, easygoing curiosity, you're 30% better at everything. Okay, and that comes from a very powerful, very easygoing, very forgiving environment known as hostage negotiation. So if it works for a hostage negotiator, it might work for you, right? Keep that in mind. It's $297 value. It's only a small piece of this course, but it's huge, right? We're going to teach you how to sanitize the negativity from your past memories, the traumas, so that when you look back on the past, you only remember the past in ways that make your life better, that move you forward. One of the things you'll discover in the course is that the trajectory of your future, in other words, the projection of the future that your neurology is creating, is based on your past. So when you clear that past, it automatically modifies what you're capable of and deserving in your future. We show you how to do that very, very powerfully. 30%, can it be more? Susan, yes, I believe it can. But I'm just quoting the stats based on just the state, not the techniques that can amplify or maximize. In fact, I'll show you how to maximize it and more. But 30% bump is good right off the bat, isn't it? We'll show you exactly step by step how to do that. And we'll show you how to do it in a way that's bulletproof. Okay? We're going to teach you how to install your own personal success template into your genetic memory in that time period from conception to 0 to 5, where all of your foundational memories, all of your templates, all of your internal avatars of what you are and who you deserve and the values that were imprinted in you without your knowledge, without your consent, without understanding of what they were, we're going to show you how to rewrite those and imprint inside of you a filter that all of your memories are refracted through so that everything changes spontaneously. Then we're going to teach you very, very specifically how to, in fact, borrow and install the genius skills and abilities of other people into that personal blueprint for success so that you can actually embody the traits and qualities and characteristics of people you admire. When I was, if any of you have ever seen Captain Jack the Hypnotist, right, that video we have on YouTube, what you're seeing is a magic circle, an example of this where I actually created a persona that I stepped into and I imprinted within myself the characteristics of certain key identities that I wanted to have more of, right? We'll show you how to do that so you can rewrite your personality, you can rewrite your traits, qualities, and attributes, and use those as a way to get even more skillful and more powerful in the shortest amount of time possible. It's a $297 value. We're going to include with that the updated Real World Hypnosis Identity by Design course manual, the one I just finished, that I taught the integrative NLP and hypnotherapy certification. We're going to include that tricked out manual, which is huge, as part of this program. It's a $418 value. So, and we're also going to give you access to a Facebook group that allows you to commune with the people who are in that program, and you can get your hands-on training, right? So all in all, total value, $2,497. However, as you could probably surmise, that we're not going to stop there. That's a great place to start though, isn't it? Paul F says the manual is huge. Yes, it is. And it's going to get bigger as time goes on. We're going to continue to update that manual as we find the newest and most powerful things. Okay. So if you act today, if you grab this special promotion, this Ultra Mind Control Training Secrets for Success Home Study course, we're also going to throw in these special bonuses for you. Okay. You're going to get our Identity by Design, Hypnotherapy, and Home Study course for 2020. It'll teach you systematically how to unlock the power of your subconscious mind, how to hypnotize anyone, anytime, anywhere. You're going to learn instant and rapid inductions, conversational hypnosis. You'll also learn how to work with clients specifically to remove blocks and limiting beliefs, find and remove hidden negativity, clear up issues that just don't seem to go away, to change those crappy voices inside your head to something that builds you up instead of tears you down. You're going to resolve negativity from your past, install the traits, qualities, and characteristics you want in your clients, how to do a client consultation. So the first part is about how to do this shit for yourself. The second part is how to do this for other people. So if you take both of those, you've got the best of both worlds. In fact, in the 14 video course I just outlined previously, we actually have graduates of that course going from the first process to the last process in less than 7 minutes. What if you could completely rewrite the foundations of your personality in 7 minutes or less? Would that be useful? Would that be powerful? Because you'll see it. I actually videotaped the process of her doing it. It was a female. I actually videotaped her doing it at the end of the course. So you'll see that being done. Then we take all of those skill sets. We'll show you how they integrate into a hypnotherapy certification. Susan says, can we swap out whatever we have? Yes, if there, as long as the price points match and there's something you already have, then we're very flexible. You just reach out to Stephanie or Brandon and they can help you with that, okay? So total value with Secrets of Personality Transformation combined with the Hypnotherapy Home Study course, $1,497 value. Yes, 7 minutes. You'll actually see her do it at the end of the video, okay? $2,994. Now, the 7 minute window, doing it all in seven, by the way, I had a training I did in Las Vegas 2-3 years ago. I had a lady beat that. She actually did it in 3 minutes. But 7 minutes doesn't suck to create powerful change. Wouldn't you agree? How do I know it lasts? Because I checked. So total value so far, $2,994. We're also going to throw in our Vibrational Influence, Hidden Laws of Attraction, Mind Magic, and Manifestation Made Easy Home Study course. The $1,497. We're going to give this to you free. We're going to teach you, based on everything that went in the previous courses, how to unlock the power of your subconscious mind to find and remove blocks to your health, wealth, and happiness that you didn't even know you had. You're going to learn how to become a money magnet, how to master the art and science of attraction, how to influence people remotely, how to find and remove hidden negativity, clear up the issues that just don't seem to go away. We're going to teach you a powerful new information method for programming your mind in such a way that your unconscious mind is highly motivated and gives you a reason why you deserve it instead of all the reasons you don't. Right? We're going to teach you how to attract the things you want and change what you deserve. Would that be useful if you felt like you didn't deserve a change to suddenly become the person who deserves to have it? You think that might be useful? Yes or yes, right? We'll show you how to do that. We're going to teach you how to banish the negativity from your past, how to install the traits, qualities, and characteristics of naturally lucky people. Turns out there's 5 characteristics that people who are naturally lucky all have in common. Using the previous technologies from Identity by Design and Personality Transformation, and included in this course, we're going to show you how to take that exact process and plug in these 5 super traits so that you generate more spontaneous luck everywhere you go. Would it be cool to not have to work quite as hard to get a better level of result? Yes or no? This is what it'll do. Okay, excellent. We're going to teach you the most powerful manifestation technique, 2 techniques actually, that I've ever run across. People often ask me about image cycling. In this course, one of the very last things we put the cherry on the sundae, so to speak, is I go in depth into the art and science of image cycling, a la The World According to David, how to manifest, and you'll actually see people changing the taste of water as a byproduct of the process, right? And how to manifest patent, and you'll hear people talk in the videos, you'll actually hear them talk about patently impossible things they've manifested, okay? We have never, as far as I know, released this particular video to the general public. We just finished teaching the class back in May. So as far as I know, it's been sitting fallow on our website. We haven't actually launched it yet. So you guys can be some of the first to get it. And there's a whole bunch more. There's mudra work that we teach. There's breathing exercises. We talk a little bit about geomancy and how to set up your house to be more attractive to money if you're into feng shui and things of that nature, and how it all integrates. Okay, so if you have Identity by Design and the Self-Mastery Supercharged Secrets of Personality Transformation process, this is the next step. This is kind of how you take these things to that spiritual or Ming or purpose level and manifest things once you've gotten your internal environments all lined up. So total value, this is a $1,497 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. It's total value of $5,491 if you could buy it on the website, which you can't. Some of these things are no longer available on our websites. We're also going to throw in, because one of the things that we see often is that many times people have the motivation, they have the desire, they have all the skill sets, but the most important one, they don't know how to communicate what they do in such a way that people actually want to do what they want them to do, right? If you've ever said something to somebody and you meant one thing and they interpreted another thing and you lost something big, this is going to fix that problem for you. This is our real world conversational hypnosis course, Stealth CPI. We call it the Universal Hypnotic Persuasion Protocol Level 1. This is going to teach you how to become the most influential and persuasive person you can be using your language and controlling your state. It's kind of where everything in state control comes together. How to instantly hypnotize people during normal conversations without them even realizing you were doing it and have them feel good about it. You'll be able to hypnotize anyone, anytime, anywhere during normal conversations. How to emotionally bond and connect what people want to what you offer in such a way that they feel absolutely compelled to just ask you for it. Many times you don't even need to close them. They'll just ask for what you're offering them. Okay. And we're going to teach you the 7 most powerful hypnotic language patterns that exist. We're going to teach you how to make anything you want seem to cause whatever you want in the mind of the listener. We're going to teach you how to make anything you want mean what you want in the mind of the listener. We're going to teach you how to redirect a person's focus of awareness and intention in such a way that their mind goes to whatever process you name, and their mind automatically begins that state, process, or experience that follows it. And then it just gets better. We're going to teach you how to literally force a person's internal pictures to be what you want them to be with absolutely 0 translation error. And that's just in the language pattern component. We're going to teach you how to make people like, love, and trust you in the most ethical and sincere, useful way possible, and have them hanging on your every word. If you're really interested in becoming an attraction magnet, having charisma on command, you'll discover how to do this, right? And again, I'm a dude talking about his products and his services and what he does. Don't trust me. Trust the people in the chat, the people who have actually taken the skills and the technologies and been to the trainings and gone out in the world and make changes. Talk to them. They're right there in the chat with you. That's why I asked them to help me out, because they've done it. They've been there, right? And a whole lot more. So this is, again, if you learn nothing else but how to talk to people in a way that's completely ethical, in a way that gets people, that lets you know exactly what people want and how they know they're getting what they want, so that you can give it to them in the way that gives them the greatest amount of pleasure and get what you want in the process. Is that helpful? Is that ethical? You tell me. Right? Okay. So finally, what we're going to do, we're going to throw in this final thing. Now, let's say you screwed up. Let's say for some reason you didn't get a person's checklist. Let's say you misinterpreted what was going on, and all of a sudden they voice an objection, or you discover they have a limiting belief, or you have a limiting belief. We're going to throw in what I call CPI level 3. This is called renegade reframing. This is how to rapidly change beliefs and instantly overcome any objection in just minutes during normal conversation. Now, for those of you who are here for mental, to learn how to be successful, one of the things that we're going to teach you when we come back to the content portion of our webinar is that we're going to show you how to change your beliefs and change your sabotage and things like that through what I call the primary encoding system. But there's another way to do it, and that's through reframing, changing how you think about a certain event in such a way that empowers you. Most of the objections you'll run into out in the world in sales and marketing and conversion, things of that nature, are based on a belief system or an objection that somebody has. This course will systematically teach you 14 different ways for every objection you encounter that you can beat it, how to win any argument. And when you apply these things to yourself, in other words, if you wrote down a limiting belief that you had, and you just went through these 14 different patterns, the way you think about that limiting belief would change multiple times instantly. It's very powerful. And there's people who've been in this training who've applied this to themselves and found their beliefs changing spontaneously. If you ever had somebody explain something that you thought was a problem in such a way that all of a sudden you saw it as a benefit, that's exactly what this does. For everything you encounter, every limiting belief you have, you're going to have at least 14 different responses. And if you combine them, you get a whole that's greater than the sum of the parts. We teach this, and it even comes with a card game. We call it the reframe game, where a person states a limiting belief, you throw down a card, and they have to use the pattern on the card to reframe or change the belief. It's very fun. It's a lot of cool stuff. And if you apply it to yourself, you'll rapidly discover ways that you can talk to people in such a way that you just get them inspired and motivated. Would that be useful? Yes or yes? Taxar Face says, it seems like a set of powerful skills that could be positive and negative depending on the person. Absolutely. That's the whole point. But it's never necessary to use this in an unethical way. If you understand what a person wants and needs, and you demonstrate through your words and your behavior how they can get exactly what they want, the way they know they're getting it, right? And you can deliver it to them ethically, that's a win-win for everyone. And it's never necessary to lie, cheat, or steal. Right? We'll show you all the ins and outs of this. We'll show you why it's the most ethical, most powerful way to communicate with any human being on the planet. And then we'll show you how to make it even more powerful. So again, this is a $1,950 value. We're going to include this yours absolutely free. Total combined value so far, if you could go to the website and buy all this, which by the way, a lot of these things are not available on our website as of this time. Total combined value is $9,391 if you register for our Secrets of Personality Transformation Ultra Mind Control for Success training program. Okay, so let's just review really quick. You're going to get the Secrets of Personality Transformation 14 video plus the manual 7-stage identity by design process. It's $2,497 value. We're going to throw in as a bonus the Real World Hypnosis Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Certification Home Study Course valued at $1,497. We're also going to throw in Hidden Laws of Attraction, Mind, Magic, and Manifestation Masterclass, valued at $1,497. We're also going to teach you or give to you the Stealth CPI Level 1 Universal Hypnotic Persuasion Protocol. We're going to give that to you free, valued at $1,950. And finally, we're going to throw in the Renegade Reframing, How to Overcome Any Objection and Change Beliefs Instantly home study course. You cannot use Renegade Reframing without CPI 1. So we give you Stealth CPI 1, and then we give you the next step. So if you're involved in any form of mediation, negotiation, counseling, therapeutic work, this is probably one of the most important skill sets to that you can add to your repertoire. Okay, let's see here. So total value, $9,391 if you were to go to the website and buy it today. But I think at least 3 of these courses are not available on the website. So the only place you can get them is right here on this special package. Okay. Golden Path. Thank you for asking about Golden Path, Layla. Golden Path, we're teaching that in January. We do not sell a Golden Path course, and we probably never will sell a Golden Path course. The reason for that is because a lot of personal information is exchanged by the practitioners of Golden Path that they not necessarily want released in the form of a product. So Golden Path workshops will always be done in a live format. They will never be released as a product. And now, because we're using a lot of these personality transformation techniques, these identity by design techniques, as part of our Golden Path workshop, Secrets of Personal Transformation or Identity by Design is now a prerequisite for taking Golden Path. So if you want to get into our Golden Path workshop and get into that spiritual purpose level, then this is probably the fastest on-ramp to that. Golden Path is a way of defining what your purpose in this life is. It's about auditing your life, the job history, the things that you love that you no longer do but would like to do again, and putting it all together to create a profile for what your mission in this life is supposed to be. Now, I need to stress that when we talk about Golden Path, it's not about the right job for you. It's about a lifestyle. And so there are lots of people who graduated from Golden Path who can speak to that. I'm going to continue to present because I want to get back to the content and start helping you change some of this stuff. We do not have a venue for Golden Path as of yet. Right now, we're looking at Las Vegas, and it will also be, and depending on COVID restrictions, there may be a hybrid version. Okay. Okay. So here's how to get the best deal humanly possible today. Is that a good deal, by the way? Do you think that would kind of fix you up? Yes or yes? Oh, Ponch is asking, where do I click to pay for it? Well, I'm glad you asked. Okay, so obviously we're not going to charge you $9,391. We're not going to charge you $6,347. We're not even going to charge you $5,000, $3,000. We're not even going to charge you $2,347. For those of you who want to get all this today and get started on the fast track to everything you want, all it is one low installment of just $997 or 3 easy installments of just $397. And all you got to do to start collecting on that right now is go to www.nlppower.com/mental training secrets, mental-secrets.com. For those of you who are in our YouTube group, let me go ahead and post those links for you, just so you have them. Because hold on a second. Hold on a second here. For those of you who are interested in grabbing this. And by the way, if you have some of the courses that we've just outlined and you want to swap it out, reach out to Stephanie at 858-282-4663. And as long as the price points match, Stephanie at nlppower.com. She'll happily make some exchanges for you and help you to customize your program. So it's only one low installment of $997, or you can just, or if you want, you can do 3 easy installments of just $397. Okay, so go ahead and type that link or put that link in there. All right. Plus, for those of you who are worried, try this course for 90 days. Just follow the instructions, go step by step through it. If after 90 days, you're not making more money, feeling more confident, closing more deals, attracting more success, manifesting your dreams, if you're not feeling more secure, confident, and powerful, if you're not taking fast, decisive actions or seeing changes in your mind, your body, your spirit, we'll refund all of your money. If you're not satisfied with what these courses do, I don't want your money. I want you to find, I'm going to return that money to you, and you find something else that works for you. If it works for you, keep it, use it to make your life everything you want. If it doesn't, let us know. We'll make it right somehow for you. Okay. We're going to give you a 90-day guarantee. If it doesn't work, we'll give it back. Okay. Go ahead and just go to www.nlppower.com/mental-secrets/mental-secrets. Remember the hyphen. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right. So what else can we add to make this even sweeter for you? Well, and again, remember I said there's 2 components to being successful. The first one is an identity. Do you believe you deserve it? Even if you don't, I'll show you how. But the second one is action, taking fast, decisive action. Ashwin, if you had problems with that audio, we have another course called Secrets of Personality Transformation. We'll give it to you free, so you can go ahead and review those courses. Okay. If there's a problem, if there's a technical problem, we'll add another course for you. Okay. So if you grab your courses before October 1st, 2020 at 11:59 p.m. tonight, we're also going to include, you're going to get these fast action bonuses as well. First one, we're going to give you a 3-month trial membership to our online skill building workshop, the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program. This is a hands-on, do the drills, get the skills workshop. This is not a workshop that's going to give you a certification. We get together on the 3rd Saturday of every month. And on the 3rd Saturday of every month, I literally go around the room. And say, Ashwin, what do you want to learn? John, what do you want to learn? Jeff, what do you want to learn? Stephanie, what do you want to learn? Paul, what do you want to learn? Seth, what do you want to learn? Allegra, what do you want to learn? I write them all on the screen on my little notes. I look at where they all connect. I create a lesson plan right on the spot. And for the next 4 hours, I drill you on those skills live and online, in person and online, depending on the restrictions, until you can do those skill sets in your sleep. Okay. You will not get a certificate from the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program. What you will get is a skill set. You'll be able to actually do the stuff. You'll be able to work on your sticking points, drill down on the things that are important to you based on what you need at the time. You come back next month, we wash, rinse, repeat. What are you going to work on today? What do you want to work on today? What do you want to work on today? Create the lesson plan on the spot, do the drills, get the skills. You can do them in your sleep. Pink Light is asking, when will you have in-person events again? Pink Light, we never stopped. The moment the restrictions in California hit, we moved all of our live events to Las Vegas. And so we still have them. If you can make it, we encourage you to do that, all right? Ancestral Twine says, and being able to pick a program or lesson that you can learn from your room from a hologram. Okay, I don't know what that, I missed that. I am one mastermind session in, and every time I'm even mildly stressed out, it's my happy thought works like a charm. Kathleen was just in our, she was just took our first mastermind training. So we're going to give you, as part of this program, just for grabbing yours today, we're going to give you 3 months free. And if you like it, sign up for the program and just keep coming in until you're done. Some people come in for a month, some people come in for 10 years. We've been running it nonstop since 2010. Every month for the last 10 years, we have done this workshop. We have videotaped every single one of those workshops, and we've archived them on the Facebook group and on the NLP Power website. And you, for the time you're a member of the Mastermind program, you'll have absolute access to the entire 10 years. Yes, there's absolutely a way to watch it online if you're not in the area. Okay. So yeah, great question. And thank you, veterans, for answering those questions. We do our best to make sure that you get the biggest bang for your buck. And I really mean that, because it's not enough to just watch the videos. You've got to have a way to externalize. Remember, we talked about an externalization filter. You've got to have a way to get these skills out of your head and into the world. You've got to speak them. You've got to do them. We're going to, when we circle back around to the hidden laws of mental dynamics and body-centered energy psychotherapy, you're going to see, and put this all together, you're going to see how it all manifests for you. Okay. So we're going to give you 3 months. Test it. If you like it, stay. If you don't, well, you got 3 months of hands-on practice and feedback from me. Would that be useful to have me looking over your shoulder and kind of giving you the, now do this, now do this, now do this, right? Total value, $594. We're going to give it to you free. Total value so far, combined value is $9,985. We're also going to throw in, for those of you who are interested, we're going to give you the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course. This is a $997 value, and it's designed for people who want to get up and running in the shortest amount of time possible. Literally, with this course, you can watch 2 videos and be out using conversational hypnosis on anyone you meet like that, if you do the drills. Right? If you want to get started fast and start seeing how these things, we also include videos on anchors in action, hypnotic hot buttons, lie detection, and a few other bonuses as well. So there's a couple extra bonus sets in there, but the core is the language training patterns that'll get you up and running in the shortest amount of time possible. It's a $997 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free if you're one of the next 15 people to sign up on today's webinar. Okay, we're going to include that for you. Total value so far, $10,982. But you know what? I couldn't not do this. I am such a big fan of hands-on training. We're gonna, for each and every one of you, next 15 people to register for this program today, we're gonna throw in a free VIP super ticket. What this means is that you are gonna get free live attendance to any single live event of your choice. Some restrictions apply on our 2020-2021 calendar. Okay, it's a $1,950 value. Right now, this is where you finally get to see the magic in action. This is where you get to be in a room with me for 3, 5, 7 days. And I look over your shoulder and I make you do the drills. I give you feedback. I install things in you. You install things in each other. We do 3 times more hands-on training than any other trainer in the industry. And our job is to give you the skill sets so that you can do this anytime, anywhere, under any circumstances. And as many of our graduates will tell you, sometimes in as little as 2 minutes, right? If you're, again, depending on the subject, sometimes if you're slow, maybe 10 minutes, right? So this is exactly, why the live trainings are so important, because we make you do the work. We actually make you log and keep track of your repetitions, and you have to do at least technique each 3 times as a subject and 3 times as the operator, or you don't get your certificate, right? So the thing you need to know about our VIP ticket is that they never expire. You have it until you use it. Price points no longer matter. If you're coming to a workshop that's in UK or Canada or Australia, and the price points are different. you get to go to the head of the line, right? If something happens at the last minute and you can't attend, all you got to do is pick up the phone or send an email to Stephanie. She will move you to another training. If a training is full and something comes up and you want to come at the last minute, if you have one of these VIP tickets, pick up the phone, call Stephanie. We will make room for you. Okay. All we ask is that you give us a heads up so we can get the materials prepared for you, because we make the materials ahead of time based on people who've committed to attendance. Okay. Our VIP tickets are super cool. You can gift them to other people. There are certain trainings where the VIP ticket won't necessarily give you full access, but it'll give you a massive discount. And Stephanie can give you all the details on those. It's usually a training where we have to share the revenues with somebody who's inviting us to come in. But anything that I'm fully sponsoring and hosting, it's free. If it's training over 7 days, there's usually an extra surcharge because we cover up to like 5 to 6 days for any training. She can give you that. Where's the payment link? Okay, people are asking for a potty ordering break. So let's go back to this. So this is the free VIP super ticket, but this is only good for the next 15 people to register. Okay. If you like the package I've outlined, if you can see where it can help you, go ahead and take the plunge, grab the package, because that's the first step towards deserving to have the changes. It's a $1,950 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. Total combined value for this entire program, from soup to nuts, from the secrets of personal transformation all the way up to that VIP super ticket, combined value is $12,932. Yours today for one low price, one low installment of just $997, or 3 easy installments of just $397. All you got to do is go to www.nlppower.com/mental-secrets.com. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a 5 or 6 minute potty break. Everything is downloadable, Frank. So Brandon and the crew can go ahead and answer any questions that you have. Yeah, we have a lot. I'm going to actually show you what we've got coming up when I come back. When I come back, I'm going to show you what the next 3 trainings we've got come up, so you can decide where you want to use that ticket. Okay, but it's only available for the next 15 who jump in. Okay, and go ahead and take. It's 5:57 my time. Let's come back at 6:07, and we will continue with the rest of our training. I was going to answer all these questions just in the chat, but Get Smart is asking, I'm curious about what Akashic Records and how you access them. I access it through specific forms of meditation. And we'll show you how to, actually Hidden Laws of Attraction is actually a good primer for that kind of work, even though it's focused more on, focused on manifestation. Phil Jablonski says, over here, it's October 2nd already. Well, then it would be 11:59 p.m. October 2nd for you, Phil. We try to be fair. When our break is over, if it's okay with you, Cindy Bogart says, I don't know what's going on here, but I have no volume. Cindy, try refreshing your page. Sometimes the driver doesn't load correctly. TJ says, I do feel very euphoric after image cycling. I believe it's already starting to manifest things. Very cool. The secret to manifesting with image cycling, and this is a big one. The secret to image cycling is you only image cycle for as long as you're feeling pleasure. Okay. Now, in advanced image cycling, we'll show you how to take negative emotions and actually use that to fuel your cycling. But for most people don't get enough pleasure in their life. So the emphasis on pleasure is actually very healing as well as manifestation facilitating for people. Is it possible to go to hands-on trainings and sign? Yes, Pancha, it's absolutely possible. If you don't mind coming to Las Vegas, because that's where we're holding for the time being. Every live event that we have, and we have a ton of them. I'm going to show you the next three when we come back from the break. But yeah, we have we have live trainings all the time. Absolutely. David, I bought enough. Okay, Kathleen, should again. Okay, Kathleen McLean says, I bought enough 0.999 silver bars to cash in if and when virtual certification becomes available. Kathleen, if you are physically, you're in Canada, right? Here's how let me talk about this really quick, because some people ask, well, I can't travel. One of the things that happens many times, especially now with this whole pandemic and everything going on, is many of the countries that our students come from have closed their borders, right? We get that. We get that you want to come to the live events, but your countries won't let you, right? So what we have done is we've instituted a hybrid certification program. So the way this works, if you have to work with Stephanie on this if you want to do it. If you are physically prohibited, for legislative reasons, legal reasons, from traveling outside of your country or your state, we give you the option to attend a live training virtually. And if you want certification, what you are required to do, we give you permission to do this. You are to record each and every one of your Zoom breakouts. At the end of that training, you are to upload that video to a Dropbox folder, and one of our instructors will personally vet your sessions to make sure A, you've got the required reps, B, you got the results you were going for, and that you've followed our processes and that you've done the work. If they are satisfied with what you've submitted, that you followed along, you've done the work with your partners virtually, you'll be issued a provisional certification and a free VIP ticket to the next live event that you can attend. So literally what happens is you go through the training in real time, virtually, right along with the rest of the class. We actually have a proctor who actually works alongside you as the group online, making sure you do the exercises, making sure your questions are answered, interacting with me. I pop in and make weird faces at you from time to time. It's not within 15 minutes. It's the next 15 people to order, Kate. Okay. And so what happens is at the end of the training, you submit your videos, we vet them, and then we issue that provisional certification. So you can hang that on your wall. You'll either get it in the mail or you can have a printed version. And it's just as good as a regular certification, but it will remain a provisional certification that's good up to a year to 2 years, depending on how long this thing lasts. And what we expect for you to do is the moment the restrictions are released, we give you the opportunity to attend a live event for free. And then that way you get vetted, and then your certification gets upgraded to a full certification from NLP Power, from the ICBCH, or whatever certifying bodies are we're working through at that time. And you're golden, right? And so that's our commitment. But we have to have a way to make sure that you as the practitioner do the work. So we do have a hybrid program in place. If that's what you want to do, just let Stephanie know, and we'll get you in. We just did a 8-day certification. We had 4 or 5 people do the hybrid training, and they worked right alongside our people. Like actually, Zoom will let you do that now, Jim. You might have to upgrade your account, but as far as I know, everybody that we had on the call had no problems. I think there's a setting or an app they just released, an update that lets people do that. So, but reach out to Stephanie. She'll give you all the ins and outs of that. Okay, it's 6:07. So before I jump back to the training, let me talk about the 3 big events we've got coming up for 2019. And you can make a decision as to which one you want to use your VIP ticket for, which one you want to come to. Is that okay? Okay, cool. Let's do this. All right, so let's jump into, let's go back to, there it is. So real quick, for those of you who are interested in taking advantage of that VIP ticket, we have October 23rd through the 25th online, a real-world conversational hypnosis 3-day online certification boot camp. That's October 23rd through the 25th. You can use your VIP ticket for that. It's a fully online training. We also have a face reading level 1 online practitioner certification, November 6th through the 8th. So if you're interested in learning how to read people's faces, create personality profiles, how to influence them, this is great for any form of counseling, therapy, or influence work. We'll be doing that. It'll be streamed live from San Diego, but you can attend it from anywhere, November 6th through the 8th, 2020. And for those of you who want to go deep dive into the deep end of the personal transformation pool, we have a 5-day real-world hypnotherapy certification in Washington, D.C., November 18th through the 22nd. This is, for those of you who missed the special deals, go back, scroll up, because we'll go back over it in just a minute. And again, you can use your VIP ticket for this. This will be hosted by Jason Linett. I'll be teaching the entire 5 days. So Beth says she'll be in DC. For those of you who are interested in Golden Path will be, the next one is January 2020. I don't have the exact dates, but if Stephanie or Brandon can post that, you can absolutely use your VIP ticket for the Golden Path. Okay, so once again, Real World Conversational Hypnosis 3-day online certification boot camp, October 23rd through the 25th. Face reading level 1 practitioner certification, 8th, 2020, streamed live. And of course, the Real World 5-day hypnotherapy certification. This is a live training. A hybrid option. So if you can't make it, but you want to attend it virtually, there are some hoops you're going to have to jump through, but we're happy to do that for you. Okay. And of course, January, we've got Golden Path coming up. So, okay. So let's go ahead and jump back into where we're going for today. Okay. Let's start with the rules of the mind. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about anything we've talked about? Go ahead and type it in the chat, and our people will answer that for you as quickly as possible. Some people are having lag issues and with drop words. When I post the replay, that may correct itself. Let me see if I can make that a little better. Okay. Does anybody have any questions on the things we talked about so far in terms of beliefs, identity, action, things of that nature? If you haven't, now is a good time to ask your questions, because we're going to get into some of the meat and potatoes of the change work. $397 is a monthly payment, yes. Yes, if you need to set up a payment plan, the deal will still hold if Stephanie can't get back to you. You just got to let her know ASAP. It's 2020 now. Yes, it is. We have a full schedule lined up for 2021, but it takes too much time to go through it all here, but we're happy to, Stephanie will happily go over that with you. Okay, so when we broke off, we gave you your first introduction to altered state work. So do you guys remember what we did to access that altered state? You guys, if you did, type yes in the chat, please. Okay, now, the system that you accessed, we call that the holographic information processing network. And the dynamics of this system are such that for everything you do inside your mind, there is a vibrational construct around your body. You know, the best way I can explain this, how many people have ever seen a movie like Minority Report or The Avengers or what have you? So if you have, type it in the chat. Okay, excellent. Now, you know when like Tony Stark or Tom Cruise goes into this virtual reality bubble, right? Where he's expanding something, moving it around, exploding the diagram, things. I'm dating myself. Yes, I am. I'm an old motherfucker, right? That's exactly how your proprioceptive grid functions. The truth is that human beings always create technology that mirrors what we do with our neurology, okay? And so one of the things that we did, first and foremost, we had you remember a time in your life when you had a certain type of feeling. You guys remember that? Then we had you relive that experience. We asked what you would see, what you would hear, what you would smell, what you would taste, what you would feel. You guys remember this process? Yes or yes? Right. Once you had that, we had you do what? Point to where in your body you felt it, right? Are you with me so far? Okay. Now, once we had that internal system accessed, what did we do? We asked ourselves a question. We said, if there were a picture that represented that experience floating in the space around us that we could reach out and touch, where would we reach out to touch it? And then we reached out and we touched it. True or not true? Did we do that? Okay. What you've done there is you've connected your internal processing system to your external processing system. Okay. We call that process and the principles that govern it body-centered energy psychotherapy. And it has very specific key attributes. Now, here's the best part. You don't need to know a lot of these things to make changes, but it helps. If you have somebody guiding you through these processes, you don't need to know any of the things I'm about to tell you. But if you are going to guide yourself through these processes, then you need to understand it. Does that make sense? Body-centered energy psychotherapy. You guys on YouTube with me so far? Okay, so using this virtual reality bubble, Avengers, Iron Man, Minority Report, if we can imagine around us a grid system, and I'll show you what that, again, so you can envision it. By the way, this grid system is not just something David made up. It's something that David discovered and concluded based on the research of several systems. How many of you have heard of a system called heartmath.org? Annie Strickland, or is that Annie? Hold on a second. Melanie Strickland, is this for meditation? Melanie, this can be for anything that involves altered states of consciousness. Okay, this is where everything really starts to kind of come together, because now when what we want first and foremost is a consistent and reliable way to access the building blocks of everything that we think, feel, and believe. Does that make sense so far? And that's what I'm going to teach you how to do. And the way that you modulate and manage this system is by how the feelings in your body change as you manipulate the projections we're talking about. Are you with me so far? Okay. If you don't, you can go to www.heartmath.org. They have a free ebook that you can download. For those of you who are interested in this kind of work for influencing purposes, you read chapter 6. If you're interested in this and understanding the organic and electromagnetic foundations of what I'm sharing with you, start at the beginning of the book. Okay. But this is how I've cobbled together a map, a system, if it were, for how to create very powerful, very rapid changes. And it comes from the understanding that every single thing that human beings think, feel, experience, believe, understand has a structure to it. And that structure has a code based on visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory data. All right. Now, in our Identity by Design programs, our real world trauma resolution, we will go very, very, very in depth. In our NLP classes, we will go very, very in depth into the subtleties of the system. For the level of change that you want to affect, you don't need that degree of specificity. Hold on a second. There was a question. Were you asked, was heartmath.org? Were you asking for the URL for the training package? There's that if you need that. Okay, so let me give you, again, we've got the conceptual idea. Now let's take a look at what that might look like and some of the big picture pieces of this. Okay, because we're going to start to play with it now. Hold on a second. Let me share my screen. Is this useful, by the way? Is this helpful? I need to know. Okay, cool. All right, so let's look at our diagrams once again, start to put these things together. All right, real quick. So we can kind of visualize this. Let's look at this. So everything that human beings do is built from this VAKOG coding system. Okay. Now, again, we just need the big pieces right now. The human heart radiates an electromagnetic field around the body that is measurable with instruments up to 8 feet in diameter from the body. Okay. In fact, if you're within 8 feet of another human being, your electromagnetic field of your heart actually interacts with the electromagnetic field of somebody else's heart and causes them to synchronize and exchange emotional information. Now, we'll cover the dynamics of information exchange, remote viewing, remote influence, and manifestation in Hidden Laws of Attraction. We'll cover it in Vibrational Influence. But for right now, for making personal changes ourselves, we need to be able to conceptualize this so we can understand the dynamics of it. Okay. Okay. So again, here's some, and by the way, these pictures are actually from heartmath.org. This is actually what their science is showing. Now, when it comes to making changes, human beings have 2 levels to this system. This is the one that most people operate from. We call this your proprioceptive grid. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can. Okay. The proprioceptive grid. This is an information filing system that your neurology, your proprioception, your mirror neurons, your cardiac nervous system, your central nervous system, and your autonomic nervous system integrate together to organize your internal and external experience. So you guys will remember when I had you access the altered state work, right? The secret to this is imagine a time when you felt a certain way. Access the visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory data. And here's the secret to this. All you got to do is play pretend. Remember we talked about absorption and focus? All you got to do is play pretend, just like you did when you were a kid, and pretend that you can do this, and you will access the altered state of consciousness necessary to do the work we're about to do. Is that clear? Go ahead and type in the chat if that makes sense. Okay. So you see how this is all starting to fit together. Now, every belief that you have, regardless of where it is at the hierarchy, whether it's a spiritual belief, a purpose level belief, an identity level belief, a criterion values belief, right? Or anything lower, they're all built from the same stuff. Gustatory means, for those, Melanie's asking, what is gustatory? It means taste, right? You know, someone said, you know, I ever heard the saying, tastes like victory, right? When something good happens to somebody, you hear them go, sweet. What they're accessing is one of these primary channels of information that are projected out to this and then organized like this. So really quickly, the dividing line is the spinal cord of the body. Anything in the front of you, anything out front of you is open, active, and running. Okay? When something passes this boundary here, your neurology starts to code it differently. Your neurology starts to code it as closed, over, complete. In other words, as far as your neurology is concerned, it's done. Are you guys with me so far? So what we did, we had you access, let me go back to my screen. We had you start to access your altered states. First of all, we talked about absorption and focus. We started about playfulness and pleasure and why we want to work with that. We close our eyes, we visualize, or we remember what we saw during those states that we want to access. We remember what we heard, we remember what we tasted, what we smelled, and finally what we felt. We find the body feeling, we turn it into a color. We breathe that color through our entire being. Now, what you've done here is you've done something very, very important, is you've linked the imagination with the body, with the breath. The link between psyche and soma, the link between mind and body is the breath, okay? And so one of the fastest ways that we can synchronize everything together is by changing using the mind to generate a body feeling, turning that body feeling into a color, breathing the color, filling the room and breathing the color through our body. That saturates our grid with feelings that lead to an altered state, whatever that altered state is. Okay, are you guys with me so far? Then what we did, what we had you point to where you feel it, and if there were imagine now, pretend, if there were a picture floating somewhere in the space around me, a picture that I could reach out and touch, where would I reach out to touch it? And we had you reach out and touch it, right? Now, when we start dealing and dialoguing with the unconscious mind, first 2 or 3 things I want to get out of the way. First thing is your unconscious mind, which is the part of your neurology you're accessing now, your other than conscious mind. The part of your mind that we're accessing is the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind always answers first. Follow me? Let me go to my PowerPoint so we can jump into this, because this is where things start to get a little, we're going to be bouncing back and forth. So if I lose you, just type it in the chat. We'll go back and we'll revisit it. Because once we understand the dynamics of this system, we're just going to start changing shit. And you'll have the tools to start changing stuff automatically. Okay? Okay, so let's go back to CJ Johnson asked, what is itching during soma a sign of? It's usually a sign of processing and experience. When you start doing this, the body is going to generate all kinds of interesting symptoms. In fact, about 51% of the time, people get warm all over, they break out into sweat. Some people laugh, some people yawn, some people cry, some people twitch, some people yawn. Some people just feel waves of emotion coming up. Pretty much anything your body does when you go through this process is a sign of your body reorganizing itself. It's supposed to happen. Don't try to measure it, manage it, or make it happen faster. Just allow that process to run its course. If you try to do anything to hurry it along, you tend to slow it down. So you have to be ready. So let's talk about the dynamics of an unconscious response so we can start making use of this system in a way that's really useful. So, oops, that was not what I planned. Hold on a second. I'm jumping around here, so I apologize. So does everybody have this conceptualization down before we move on? Does everybody have this? Some people vomit. Well, actually, they don't. I've had people try to vomit, but they've never actually succeeded. But I've had people like have massive dry heaves, right? Folks on YouTube, are you good? Yeah, you don't make it happen. You pretend and play with it. This is the secret. This is, again, if you're into meditation, any form of manifestation, this is going to take your stuff to a whole new level. All right, so we have this conceptualization of the proprioceptive grid and how it functions and how it works. Everything that a lot of the things that we're going to do initially are going to be based on accessing the system, connecting what's inside of us to what's outside of us, okay? And then manipulating the code. All right, let me go back to this. So let's talk about rules. I think the first and foremost, we need to talk about rules of the mind. And I'm gonna try and make this as actionable as possible, but there are some theoretical things that we need to understand. First of all change occurs via altering our state of consciousness. I call this the law of altered states. Okay, nothing that human beings do happens until we access the state of consciousness where those skills were encoded. Each of those skills is encoded via KOG. Once we can access the VAKOG inside and outside simultaneously, rapid change becomes possible. And manageable. And that's the big one. A lot of people in NLP know about this VAK system, but they do it almost exclusively they use it almost exclusively as a hallucination. They don't give it any vibrational reality or phenomenality to it. They don't accept it or treat it as a vibrational phenomenon or projection from the body, an actual one that can be manipulated. And truth be told, you don't have to believe that your body actually has an energy field for this to work. You just have to act as if it's true and you'll get the change anyway, okay? The secret to a lot of what we're doing is to play pretend. The first rule of understanding the law of unconscious mental dynamics is the unconscious mind always answers first, okay? So we're gonna talk about dialoguing with your nervous system so you can learn to trust the information that you're getting, which is the big problem. You see, a lot of us, when we first jump into learning how to fix ourselves, we go to a self-help course. A lot of us buy self-hypnosis videos, meditation videos. And if the guy is any halfway competent and we've halfway followed the instructions, we usually wind up in an altered state. The problem is half the time we don't realize we're in an altered state and we're often wondering, is this shit actually working? And so what happens is we reliably go into an altered state while doubting we're in an altered state, and we practice rehearsing doubt in an altered state, which makes us more doubtful. Right? And that's kind of the problem. Cindy Bogart asking, good here, don't understand vomiting. People will start to purge physiologically, emotionally, sometimes both. That's a great question, Evan. Hold that until the end, till I've gone through the actual process for some of the people who haven't been around for a while, and I'll circle back and answer that. Okay. So first and foremost, Let's talk about the dynamics of an unconscious response, because we need to start somewhere and we need to be able to trust the information that we're getting. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? Sometimes I forget where I stick stuff. Bear with me here, guys. I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. I had it exactly where I put it. Imagine that. So here's the six principles for dialoguing with the other than conscious mind. Remember one thing, first and foremost. Your unconscious mind always answers first, usually non-verbally. Okay, for those of you who see clients, this is really, really key. It always answers honestly. In other words, you gotta, whatever it comes up first is usually the most accurate and direct route to the problem. Okay. The moment your feelings change, you're in an altered state. The minute you point to where you feel it, you're in an altered state. The minute you VAKOG, you're in an altered state. All of these things are signs that you're in an altered state. Human beings are never not in an altered state. That's one of the big delusions that we labor under. Third and foremost, it's always going to feel like you made it up. Okay. Don't worry, Kate, you can go back and catch the replay. Okay. When you dialogue with your autonomic nervous system, your unconscious mind is always going to answer you first, usually non-verbally. You will always answer you honestly, even if what you get doesn't seem to make sense. We'll talk about that in a minute. It will always feel like you're making it up, because the part of you that controls your entire neurology, the part of you that controls every emotion, every memory, every moment of pretend is also the part that makes shit up. So it will feel that way. And that brings us to the biggest problem that will be the biggest detriment to people who don't understand dialoguing with the unconscious. You will always have an urge to edit what just came up. In other words, I ask you to go back to the very first scene, situation, or event that is the source, the beginning, the root cause of XYZ problem. You think you're going back to a time when you were 30 years old and you went through a divorce. Boom, all of a sudden the first thing that pops up, you're 5 years old, standing in the living room, watching your parents argue. And another part of your mind goes, no, that can't be right. Well, that's what I'm talking about. When you start dialogue, your unconscious mind, your autonomic nervous system does not organize your experiences in a linear manner. It's constantly cross-referencing other things by what they have in common in the context. So when you start to dialogue with this part of you, the information you get, the most important pieces will always come up first. And they will always be the most honest and accurate, even though you may not consciously understand where it came from. It will always feel like you're making it up. Okay, this is a big piece. This is what screws up so many good personal development systems. They don't tell you this shit, right? If you do hypnosis or NLP or any form of altered state change work and you're not letting your clients know, always answers first, always answers honestly, always feels like you're making it up. You've probably encountered this. They come out of trance going, I don't think I was hypnotized. I heard everything you said, right? I did everything you wanted me to do. I felt like I think I was just making it up in my head, right? If you've ever encountered this stuff, those are the things that will undermine your session, because they don't understand the difference between an unconscious response and a conscious one. And this is something, if you're doing self-work, you got to understand it. You got to trust this phenomenon, right? Whether you're working with me personally, whether you're working with one of my trained counselors or practitioners, whether you're doing the live trainings with people and they're guiding you through these processes as you learn to do them for yourself and for others, you got to trust this. If you just told your clients the 6 things I'm sharing with you before you began a session, 80% of your resistance and the things that would undermine the changes you're trying to get would go out the window. They would just disappear, right? But people don't understand this. And if someone had taught me this 30 years ago, I could have avoided the slow learning curve I had, right? So first 3, always answers first. Always answers honestly. always feels like you're making it up. Always have an urge to edit what just came up. This is the part that, again, people go up, like I said, you tell people to go back to the first scene, situation, or event that is the source, the beginning, the root cause. They think they're going to 30 years old. And all of a sudden, poof, they're 5 years old going, no, that can't be right. Yeah, it is. It came up first. It came up honestly, and it's not linear. And which brings us to the fourth rule or fifth rule. The information you get will almost never be linear. And when it is linear, you can almost bet dollars to donuts that there's a part of that experience that is the problem, not the entire experience. And that's not linear. Does that make sense? Are you following me so far? Research says most of our memories are false. You're saying this will bring up real memories. All memories are made up, Melanie. The memory, we don't actually store memories as we understand them. We actually reconstruct them, right? If you want to follow up, there's some other theories about how emotions and memories are made. And one of the things I would like you to reference is called the theory of constructed emotions. Emotions and memories are reconstructed on the fly, and the process of reconstructing them changes them. Because the way the brain puts together the VAKOG sequencing and the subtle differences in each of those channels changes as context and emotion change. But the best part is it's the same neurology doing it and making those changes. And so instead of making them happen randomly, you can take control of the editing deck. And once you understand how to access that level, you can change it to what you want it to be. Would that be useful? Yes or yes? Cool. Excellent. All right. So let's talk about, again, just to make it official, dialoguing with the unconscious mind. If you remember nothing from this training, point to where you feel it, and these 6 questions, or these 6 characteristics, always answers first. Always answers honestly. Always feels like you're making it up. You always have an urge to edit what just came up. More often than not, the information you access will not be obvious. It will always be like quiet or soft, like a whim or a notion in the back of your mind. It will never have that loud in your face feel to it. Like I said, it'll have this made up feel to it. Whichever one Rob says, David, which Heart Math book, whichever one they're offering as a free ebook on their website. Lisa, thank you. I love everything about you too, even though I hardly know you. But I think you get the idea. And finally, we talked about this, it's almost never linear. So these are the characteristics of an unconscious response. When you start dialoguing with your system, you have to ask your body certain questions. You follow me so far? And this brings us to another series of concepts. And we call this body-centered energy psychotherapy. CJ, the answer usually happens within a few seconds, right? Usually usually the first answer you dismiss is the right one. Now, remember I said that a lot of times when the unconscious mind answers you, it will answer you non-verbally. Many times that answer will be a feeling. It'll be a body feeling. Every single thing we do starts with a body feeling. The difference is whether we're conscious of it or not. Okay, we call that the interoceptive or the enteric nervous system. Okay, every single emotional response that we have actually starts off with a kinesthetic body sensation. Robin, we called it body-centered energy psychotherapy. If this were a hypnosis class, we would call it body-centered hypnotherapy. But this is a more integrative approach because a lot of people are not hypnotherapists and stuff like that. Don't worry, Ron, there'll be a replay. Okay, you may miss out on the webinar bonus package if you don't take it, you don't hurry. But so, are we clear on those 6 characteristics? Science of the Heart, Volume 2. Very cool. Excellent. Okay, it's getting hot in here. So let's move forward. So once again, this is dialoguing with the other than conscious mind. Oops. I don't like that. Next piece is going to be body-centered energy psychotherapy. Now, these concepts, you don't really need all of them, but we're going to go through them very, very quickly. Okay. Somatic engagement. This is what happens when you point to where you feel it, reach out and touch it. Okay. So somatic engagement is this concept of whatever we're doing, we want to act out the change. So how many of you are familiar with my spinning technique? Yes? Okay. So in the spinning technique, we point to where we feel it. We look in with our inner eyes, we notice the color, we reach in, we grab it all, we take it out and notice it's spinning. It's moving in a certain direction. And we notice what direction is actually spinning, right? Then what do? We physically grab it. We physically grab it with our hands. This is somatic engagement. We're treating that vibrational construct like a solid object that's moving, and we're physically manipulating it and we make it spin the other way, right? And we act out the change. Right? We keep spinning it until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When it's impossible to go back to the way it was, we slam it back in. The program goes into the system. It surges and unpacks through the entire neurology, internally and externally. There's a reprocessing phase that the person goes through. Usually they break out into sweat, they twitch, their eyelids sometimes frivolate and do all kinds of interesting things. And then all of a sudden, boom, they sign like, and they can't go back. Right? If you've ever done our spinning process, we'll probably cover that in another webinar. But that's somatic engagement. In the altered state drill I gave you, where we played pretend, we had you close your eyes. Remember a time when we pointed to where you felt it. We reached out and touched the picture. You guys remember that? Yes or yes? Okay. Now that's called somatic bridge. We'll talk about that in a second. But basically what we're doing here is we're connecting inside to outside. We're connecting our internal processor to our external projections. Then what did I have you do? I had you trace the outline of that picture so you knew exactly what shape it took. You guys remember when I said that? Okay. Then what did I have you do? I had you grab the picture, didn't I? I had you make it bigger and notice what happened to the feelings in your body. Then I had you make it smaller. Notice what happened. I had you pull it closer and notice how your feelings changed. I had you lift it above your head and pull it down around you like a big blanket. You guys remember me doing this with you? Yes or yes? Okay. What you did there was somatic engagement. In other words, we acted out the change that we wanted to make. We also did what I call internal-external calibration. Once we link your internals to your externals, the next thing we have to do is modulate degree of change, right? This is you figuring out how you code your experience, okay? Are you guys with me so far? Okay. Now, I start with pleasure, but you can literally use this process for any state you can name and any state you can vividly imagine. If you can remember it or imagine it and it creates a body feeling, you're cooking with gas, okay? Now, we talk about somatic engagement, which is acting out the change, right? We also talk about somatic bridge, which is pointing to where you feel it, reaching out and touching it, right? If we visualize the picture getting bigger or smaller, would that not have the same effect? It can. But what happens a lot of times, and I see this a lot in the NLP side of the world, a lot of times, because people do a lot of these processes just in their head, they don't get the same integration and synergistic change. So if you want to maximize your chances for fast, full spectrum change, link the internal to the external and act out the change. Then it doesn't matter what your conscious mind believes. This is the secret. When the body starts acting out the process, it overwrites any resistance from the critical faculty of the conscious mind. It doesn't matter what you believe. If you act it out and you just keep acting it out, it will overwrite the critical faculty. Okay. So can you do it as a purely hypnotic mental construct? Yes. Does it work better? No. Strategically and historically, no. No. And we've had people try it both ways, but don't believe me. Do it both ways and see which one gives you the greater effect the fastest. Okay? Don't believe anything I tell you, right? Just do it and test it. If you can't test it, you can't manage it, right? Okay, good. Okay, so now, that's somatic engagement, somatic bridge. Let's talk about the next one. Somatic address. And very simply, we have a somatic bridge or somatic address every time we point to where we feel it, right? Every single belief, memory, experience, good or bad, right or wrong, real or not, has a corresponding body location. We call this point and click therapy. If you can point to where you feel it, you can change it. Okay? You don't need to know all the little ins and outs or the little theories behind it. Just know that if you can point to where you feel it and change that feeling to a color, you've now accessed the system we just talked about. Are you with me so far? Nigel asked, does this work on children? Yes. It works very well on children, provided you can get them to follow the instructions. We have actually, for children, we actually have smaller versions of this that are, we call it color breathing, and the color game works really well on children under the age of 10. It's not as complicated. And for those of you who get the Identity by Design course and vibrational hypnotherapy courses, you'll be introduced very, very deeply to this vibrational breath color breathing process. What if the address is the same for multiple? It's fine. That's fine. Human beings tend to store similar feelings in similar locations. There are certain ways that they can do that. And the Swedish studies have proven that. Let me show you something really quick. Actually, I have to do it this way. Again, I'm kind of sorry, but not sorry that I'm kind of going off on tangents. But I think it's important to see how these things come together. Let me show you this really quick. Sorry, I had to open up a file that was not readily accessible. And it's still not accessible. Where did it go? Okay, why is that not showing up? There it is. No, it's not it. That's weird. I'll have to do it this way. Okay. Let me show you this picture really quick. This is from a Swedish study that was circulating around the internet maybe 2-3 years ago. This is the body locations where different types of emotions tend to congregate. Now, each of these body locations will have similar, will have memories and beliefs and thoughts grouped together by what they have in common, but also by context. Now, sometimes those commonalities are very, very small. Sometimes they're very, very big. But this is the science. This is what it's showing us based on subjective questions and things like that. So I think these were MRIs or CTs or something like that. I forget exactly how they did this, but it was, if you can find, there's a study from Scandinavia that was done. So I just wanted to share that with you really, really quick, just so you understand that there's always going to be a body location. For every feeling, belief, memory a person has, there's going to be a body location because there's a feeling. If there's no feeling, by definition, they don't have a problem. Now, with people who've undergone severe trauma, who have dissociative identity disorder or some level of extreme dissociation from the experience, many times when you ask them to point to where they feel it, the feeling will be outside of their body. And they'll be embarrassed because it's outside of their body, because it doesn't follow the rules. And so a lot of times they'll tell you, I don't feel anything, right? And what actually has happened is they've been so traumatized that they've actually stepped out of their body. In face reading, we call this shenning in or shenning out. The shen act, the spirit actually leaves the body. It's a dissociative effect. And as you clear those traumas, they'll start to reintegrate back into their body. If you have this too, this is what's going on. That event was so problematic, or that series of events was so emotionally provocative for you that you stepped out of the body. It was your body's way of dealing with the intensity of the issue. You're not broken. It's just how your body dealt with it. And you can recode that experience once you understand it. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. Let's see here. Okay, cool. All right, so let me see where I was at. Okay, so we've got somatic bridge, somatic address, point to where you feel it, act out the change. If you do these three things, you will engage the entire neurology, combining with the breath work. This is one of the secrets. In hypnosis and other forms of trance work, one of the things that they do is they shut down certain parts of the brain. If I were to put you in a hypnotic state, using like a 4 magic bullets induction or something like that, and I hooked you up to a CT scan, what you would literally see is parts of your brain, especially the cerebrum, would start to shut down. Other parts would light up because blood flow changes, because different parts of the brain. It's a physiological response. As one part of the brain shuts down, another part lights up. What we're doing, and one of the reasons that we get such very powerful, rapid change with this approach, is we're not shutting down any parts of the brain. We're not shutting down necessarily any parts of the autonomic nervous system or the proprioceptive nervous system. We're actually activating all of them, but we're doing it in such a way that every part of the system understands what's going on and where it's going. You follow me so far? What we're creating is full brain-body integration. That's why we call it body-mind, reprogramming the body-mind, because your body doesn't stop physically here. It's extended out vibrationally, and it's a holographic system. All right, are you with me so far? I saw an interesting comment in it. Wife just asked if I pay for this. Well, you can charge for it for sure. If you're a change worker, this stuff will help you put more satisfied clients in your door. If you just want to fix yourself, this is where it starts. Okay. Okay, so let me see where I'm at in terms of my PowerPoints. Okay, so somatic bridge, somatic search engine. So the last thing that we're gonna, oops, that didn't work out. The last concept we're going to talk about really quick is the somatic search engine concept. And what this means is, how many of you have ever heard of this thing called Google? Go ahead and type that in the chat if you've heard about Google. Okay. Have you ever noticed that many times when you ask Google a question, the kind of information you get back, the answers you get, changes as you change the way you ask the question? Yes or yes? Okay, your body works the same way. If you want, the quality of your life will be determined by the quality of the questions that you ask. One of the ways that we begin dialoguing with the autonomic nervous system is we ask good questions, right? Has there ever been a time when you felt X? Or what would it be like if you could imagine X, what might it be like? These questions cause the neurology to provide an answer, right? And we take that answer, we access the body location, we turn it into a color, we access the picture out in front of us, and now we have the entire VA-KOG system that we can play with, and we can modulate and manage the feelings in our body through that process, okay? And let me see here. Okay, so those are the concepts that we're gonna talk about. So let's take something that we want to change. All right, then let's do something simple, like on a scale of 0 to 10. The exercise that we're going to do is called Magic Frame. And the way this works is we have to actually go back to our grid and ask the body, where do we store certain types of information? Ask the proprioceptive grid where we store certain types of information. And what we want to do is we want to change it from where it's located to where it will do us the most good. Think about it like taking a file that's been misfiled, editing it, and moving it to a different file folder. That's what we're going to do. So let's think of something on a scale of 0 to 10 that we would like to change. Okay? And I want you to think about that. I want you to remember on a scale of 0 to 10, rate the intensity of the feeling. And as you think about that thing that you want to change, all I want you to do is point to where you feel it in your body. When you've done that, go ahead and type done in the chat. Excellent. Now, if there were a picture floating in the space around you that represents that feeling, a picture that you could reach out and touch, where would you reach out to touch it? First impression, reach out and touch it. Good, excellent. Let's make sure now that we've got the right one. Take both of your hands. Trace the outline of that picture so you know how big it is. And then let's go ahead and grab it. And just for fun, make the picture bigger and notice what happens to the feeling in your body. Does it get stronger or does it get weaker? Now, if it gets stronger, fine. If it gets weaker, just know which way makes it stronger, which way makes it weaker, and you're good. All right. If you've gotten that far, go ahead and type that in the chat. Cool. Excellent. All right. Now, here's where it gets cool. What do you want instead? Think about that for a moment. You've got this feeling, you know where it's located. Perfect. Remember those things for now. And now what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself the simple question. What do I want instead? Right? Notice as you think about it, what might you see? What might you hear? What might you smell? What might you taste? Right? And when you do that, point to where you feel it. As you notice that body feeling, reach out and touch the picture connected to that. Notice they might be in different locations. Make sure we've got the right one. Trace the outline of that picture so you know how big it is. When you've done that, type done in the chat. I'll wait, it's okay. I don't know if our time ran out or whatever, but I'm not getting a lot from my chats here. Okay, well, my YouTube people are chatty. 62 messages. Oh, that might be why. I think Zoom actually just, okay, cool. Now, we're gonna do two different approaches now. One does everything in the forward hemisphere. The next one's gonna take place forward and backward. So here's what I want you to do. You have the thing you don't want. You have the thing you want instead, right? Now here's what I want you to do. Call up those pictures. Put them side by side and look at them. And notice where they're different visually in terms of, is the picture in color or black and white? Is it moving or is it still? Is it clear or is it fuzzy? Right? Pay attention to that. Pay attention to the auditory. Listen to each picture. Is there sound? Is it loud? Is it soft? Right? Is it rhythmic, arrhythmic? Is it, is it in one side more than the other? What I want you to do is I want you to notice the differences in terms of visual, auditory, sense, olfactory, and gustatory. Are there smells? Smell both of them. Is there a smell associated with either of those? Right? What is it? Is it strong? Is it weak? Right? Now taste it. Are there any tastes? Right? Put these two pictures side by side and evaluate them in terms of the visual components, the auditory components, the olfactory and gustatory components, and finally the kinesthetic components. Notice where they're different. Notice where they're different. And now all I want you to do is change the submodalities. In other words, I want you to go ahead and change the visual components of the problem to match the visual components of the solution. Okay? Then what I want you to do is I want you to listen to it, and I want you to make all the auditory components match the auditory components of the solution. Okay? Then what I want you to do the same thing for the olfactory and the gustatory and finally the body feelings, until everything about the first picture in terms of its characteristics matches the second picture. Notice how the feelings in your body shift and change as you begin to modify those elements. Then when you're done with that, reach up, shrink the first picture down to the size of a postage stamp, and move it over to the space where the solution is, and open it up and notice what happens to the feelings in your body. When you've done that, just type in what you felt or what happened when you did it. Feels good? Wow, Kate says. It became possible. Drop and drag, love it, laughing. Instant huge yawn, clear feeling, excellent. Let's see what's happening with our YouTubers. So now, here's feels exhilarating, excellent. Now, here's what we did. All we did literally is the equivalent of isolating the problem and the file folder it's connected in, completely reverse the stress feeling into a happy feeling. Wow, thanks a lot for that. Yes, you can do this for anything you can name and conceive of. Okay, made it happy, perfect. Feeling got stronger, a bit sick, okay. Cool, whether it felt better or it didn't, if it didn't work, if something wasn't happening, there would have been no change at all, right? Feels great, excellent, perfect. Everything else after that is calibration. So literally what we've done here is by accessing this holographic information processing system, we've decided what we wanted to change. We access the internal program, we link it to the file folder, we open that file, we edit the file, we close the file, we move it to a new file folder, we put it in there, we open the file. Beth so far said I felt a shift on the right side of my face. Now, you have a vibrational file folder for everything you can name. No, Ben, this is not color breathing. Well, the beautiful part is you have it on video, right? So that's the first piece. You can take any problem that you have and turn it into what you want instead. Was that be useful? Melanie says, wow, feeling got stronger. Cool. Is that useful? Yes or yes? Okay, ready for the next one? Okay, every now and then we encounter a situation or circumstance that doesn't want to change because your neurology believes that if we let it go, we'll forget the lesson and we'll do that shit again. So this next drill takes place with the forward and rear hemispheres. If we go back to our mapping emotions in the body, a Finnish study, thank you. I knew it was somewhere in Northern Europe, but sometimes I reserve the right to be wrong, okay? Let me go back to, where is it? Is this it? Yes, this is it, okay. Let's go back to our picture so we understand what we just did. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Sorry, I lost my my OneNote. Hold on a second. You can look at my face while I look for my pictures. Okay. So let's look at what we've done first, okay? We've accessed our proprioceptive grid, and we basically took a problem state and a solution state. We changed this and moved it here. Notice that everything that we just did took place in the forward hemisphere, okay? So what this means is that if you could imagine a file on your desktop that was open and blocking things or causing problems, we just fixed that. In the next process, we're going to attack safety lessons. In other words, things that your unconscious mind has a vested interest in keeping the same so you don't get hurt or you stay the same, okay? So here's how it works. We take something that's a problem, we extract the safety lessons, and we move it to the done section, to the done file. Okay? So here's how this is going to work. Going back to this idea. First and foremost, think of something, and again, on a scale of 0 to 10, it can be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, doesn't really matter. Think of something that you want to change, or something that's been a problem for you. It could be a negative emotion that you have. It could be a behavior, procrastination, could be a limiting belief, whatever. I want you to think about that. See what you see, hear what you hear, smell and taste what you smell and you taste. And what I want you to do is I want you to point to where you feel it, just like before. Just point to where you feel it. If there were a picture floating in the space around you that represented that experience, belief, memory, whatever, a picture that you could reach out and touch, where would you reach out to touch it? Right? Trace the outline of that picture with both of your hands so you know how big it is. Make sure you got the right one. Make it bigger. Notice how the feelings change. Make it smaller. Notice how the feelings change. Pull it closer to your body. Notice how the feelings change. And then put it back. There are 2 pictures this time. We'll do one at a time. You can do them simultaneously or you can do them at the same time. Doesn't matter. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to imagine you could take a big, thick, black picture frame and just put that big black picture frame right around that thing you want to change, the thing you want to get rid of, right? Now, most of you are probably too young to remember when televisions had real dials and knobs and switches instead of touch screens and remote controls. But I want you to imagine that you could feel along the base of that frame. And I'd like you to notice that there's some dials and knobs and switches like on an old style television. I want you to go ahead and find the brightness knob or the contrast knob. Turn that knob all the way to the right until the image whites out completely. Notice how that makes you feel. Turn the image all the way to the left until the image blacks out completely. Notice how that makes you feel, and ask yourself a simple question. Which one do I like better? Whichever one it is, if you like it whited out, turn it all the way to the white until the image whites out completely. If you like it black, turn it all the way to the left until the image blacks out completely. Once you've gotten that, take the index finger of your dominant hand, and in glowing golden letters, I want you to write, physically write out in glowing golden letters across that whited out or blacked out screen, everything that experience had to teach you, positive or negative, so you can keep the lessons, and let everything else go. Keep the lessons and let everything else go. Now, several things can happen. A, some people know exactly what those lessons are. They write them, whatever comes up, first impression, write it on the screen. Some people have no conscious idea what those lessons are, but there's a part of you that always knows, so just start writing. Some people know exactly what to write. Some people just write squiggles. Some people draw pictures. Every now and then you get a recalcitrant motherfucker who just writes fuck you, fuck you, fuck you across the screen. Some people write with both hands simultaneously, like they're writing Chinese and Hebrew at the same time. However you do it, you just keep writing until everything that needs to be retained is on that screen, so you can keep the lessons and let everything else go. If thoughts and feelings and emotions come up, write them on the screen. As they come up, they come out. As you feel them, you reveal them. As you reveal them, you heal them. Solved, dissolved, and resolved from the body. Solved, dissolved, and resolved from the mind for all the right reasons. And just keep writing. Whatever comes up, you just keep going. When you know you're done, just type done in the chat really quick, and then reach up, grab that frame, shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp or even smaller. Float it up over the top of your head. Feel it go back beyond the horizon until it disappears completely. As you feel it and see it disappear completely, you know the sound a hammer makes when it's banging on a nail, or when a nail gun is nailing a nail in? Hear it, feel it, sense it, nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back. You see it, hear it, feel it, nailed back there for all eternity, impossible to come back. Test it. Try to bring it back and notice what happens instead. And tell me what you discover. Let's type it in the chat. Can't bring it back? Excellent. That's usually one of the responses. There's usually 3 responses that you can get. Phil said, I started smiling and feel great. It feels locked and I got chill. Excellent. All transformation, all physiological symptomology is a sign of change. It's stuck. Perfect. Now, it's stuck back there. Perfect. Now, your neurology now codes that experience is over. YT Kobe Newman says, this is strange. Yes. And it's cool, isn't it? It won't come off the wall. Yes. Perfect. You did excellent. Right? Anything you want to be, oh, I feel angry when it gets stuck, even though I don't want it back. Okay. If there's a reason behind why you're feeling that anger, point to where you feel it, reach out, touch the picture. Trace the outline of that picture with both of your hands. Put a big, thick black frame around it, white it out or blacken it out completely. Write the reasons that you're angry and all that anger on the screen so you can keep all that and let everything else go. When you're satisfied, shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp, float it up over the top of your head, back beyond the horizon till it disappears completely. And hear that nail back there. You know it's done, test it. Try to bring it back, notice what happens instead. Very good. Not so bad this time, right? Okay. That's another way to clear shit. You have a negative feeling you want to get rid of, you have limiting beliefs, use this, right? You can change, if you have a belief you want to change, you bring up the belief, rewrite the file, move it into the new file location. Something you want to get rid of, point to where you feel it, reach out, touch it, put a big black frame around it, write the lessons, white everything out, move it behind you, lock it down. Last piece, and then we're going to be done for today. Let's say you want to put something in your future, right? Yeah, Hunab, if it's still kind of there, but not as much, it's because there's multiple events connected to that feeling. So you probably need to do this multiple times on different issues related to that. There's other things that we could do. But again, we don't have time for every single thing. Thank you, Complex PT. Yeah, we can do that with this. Okay, if welding works, work on it. Now, last piece. Let's say there's something we want to program in our future. Would that be useful? Yes or yes? Okay, so this is an exercise that comes in 2 parts. Once again, close your eyes. Remember that pleasure feeling that you had? Yes? Close your eyes. Imagine a big ball, that energy floating above your head. Fill the room with it. Breathe it, wrap it around your body. Breathe it through your entire feeling until your body is saturated with good feelings. When you're done, type done in the chat. Good. Now, next piece. Think of that thing that you want to program in your future. What might you see when you've had that? What might you hear? What might you smell? What might you taste? Because when you do that, when you see what you see and you hear what you hear and you smell and you taste what you smell and you taste, there's an amazing, awesome feeling that you get, right? Feeling that lets you know it's exactly what you want. Point to where you feel it. When you point to where you feel it, reach out, touch the picture. Notice where it is. When you got that, type done. Excellent. Now, I want you to think about something that you absolutely know with 100% certainty is going to happen in your future. Maybe you're going to meet somebody at a certain time. Maybe you know the sun's going to come up tomorrow. I don't care. Something you know with absolute certainty that's going to happen in the future. When you do that, when you think about that, if there were a place in your body where that feeling of certainty is located, a feeling you can point to, where do you feel it? Point to where you feel it. Reach out, touch the picture. Bring up that picture. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you feel? Look at the visual components. Bring up the picture of the thing that you want to have happen in the future, that you know is going to happen in the future. Make the elements of the first picture match the elements of the second picture. Make the visuals match. Make the auditories match. Make the kinesthetics match. Make the olfactory and the gustatories match. When you've got that, type done in the chat. It doesn't have to be, this is a great question. What do you do if there is no place in your body for certainty? How certain are you the sun's going to come up tomorrow? How certain are you the sun's going to come up tomorrow? Use that. Doesn't have to be something big. Moderately, right? Point to where you feel it, reach out, touch it. Now, take the picture of what you want that's now been changed to the second one, shrink it down, move it into that filing cabinet, and then open it really big and notice what happens. And tell me what you discover. Type it in the chat. It's going to happen. How cool is that? That's right. Okay. Now, honestly, if this is the scope of everything that's possible with this system, we've covered this. All right. There's a lot more things we could do. If people like this information and you want to take it further, I invite you to jump into that Secrets of Personality Transformation Ultra Mind Control for Success package. It's the best package I've ever come up with for creating this scope of changes this easily. Right? So, like I said, I told you I'd show you how to get rid of negative emotions, overcome limiting beliefs, program your future. Have I lived up to that promise? Yes or no? Okay. If you want to take it further, all you got to do is jump onto that Secrets of Personality home study course, get the training, utilize it, practice it, pay the second payment, do the drills, get the skills, take that 3-month mastermind trial program and get in and get the hands-on skills, come to the live event, use your VIP tickets, right? I sincerely hope that you've enjoyed this. If you want more webinars like this, where we bring out little bits and pieces of our overall systems, please let us know, share, like everything, tell people about it. I certainly feel honored and blessed to be able to share these things with you. You know, there'll always be trolls, and that's okay. But one of the things that I want you to get, and I really mean this, is you do not have to believe any of this for it to work for you. All you've got to do is play pretend and actually do it. After that, it's just a question of repetition, right? Next time we get together, we'll cover the 7 laws of mental dynamics that nobody ever tells you about. We'll certainly cover it in Identity by Design, as well as Hidden Laws of Attraction. Those are probably some of the most important places to learn those laws when it comes to really mentally programming yourself. Robin says, someone said there's just a couple of VIP tickets left. So if you're serious about this, please jump in. Anyway, I hope you had a great time. I certainly loved and enjoyed spending this time with you. Please continue to post your comments and your questions. Reach out to Stephanie. Let me go ahead and just go through the offer one last time so you guys can kind of take if you've been on the fence, when would now be a good time to do this, right? We're going to give you the Secrets of Personality Transformation, Ultra Mind Control for Success home study course plus manual. It's $24.97. It's Identity by Design Hypnotherapy Home Study Course valued at $1,497. We're going to give you that for free. We're going to give you the Hidden Laws of Attraction Manifesting Masterclass, $1,497, absolutely free. That's never been released to the public, by the way. Stealth CPI Universal Hypnotic Persuasion Protocol valued at $1,950. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. We're going to give you the Renegade Reframing, how to overcome objections and change beliefs to normal conversations. Instantly $1,950 value. You're going to get it absolutely free. We're going to give you 3 months of the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, $594 value. We're going to give it to you absolutely free. We're going to give you that Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course so you can start hypnotizing people in a couple of hours, really. It's a $997 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free. And finally, to put the cherry on the cake, if you really, really, really want to get involved and become a master of your reality, a master of manifestation, of getting the life you want, the way that you want it, grab one of those last remaining VIP super tickets and come to your choice of any live event in our 2020-2021 calendar. And we will make sure that you come out of there able to do this stuff anytime, anywhere, for any reason. That is my commitment to you. If you show up, you will leave transformed. You will be able to do this anytime, anywhere. And honestly, if you go through this program and you're not satisfied, let us know. We'll give you your money back, right? Now, honestly, give it the full 90 days and test it, right? Don't just say, I bought it, I don't want it, all right? We have people who do that, and that's not cool. But if you legitimately have tried these processes and they have not worked for you, we will walk you through it. And if they still don't work for you, we'll refund your money, not a problem. Our goal is to give you the life you want, the way that you want it. These programs have transformed every aspect of my life, from the martial to the mental to the romantic. And I want you to have that same opportunity. You don't need 20 years like or 30 or 40 years of trial and error like I did. You can get it all in the most up-to-date, user-friendly form imaginable right now. Just one loan installment of $997 or 3 easy payments of $397. All you got to do is go to www.nlppower.com/mental-secrets, www.nlppower.com/mental/secrets. Husband says thank you to you too. Well, thank you, Kate. I look forward to working with you. You're going to be fun, I can tell. That's all I got. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me. Here's that link once again, just in case. Ben, if you have questions about those programs, I'm more than happy to answer them in an email, or you can reach out to Stephanie directly. Stephanie at nlppower.com. Or you can call her directly at 858-282-4663. Yes, I do consultations. A lot of people are asking me about consultations. Just reach out to Stephanie. She'll tell you everything you need to know. That's it. That's all I got for you guys today. I hope you had a good time. I hope you got a lot out of it. Change your life. Trance on. Love y'all.